All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Close. Yes, I am like 10 seconds late. We ruined the streak. We did not have a single late day all week, but we are here. It was 10 seconds. Yes, this is an early late. Exactly. This is an early late. Well, we got some confirmation. We got some confirmation finally about what's happening with these war headlines. Now, we got a bunch of other conflicting headlines since the market opened. 656 right here on the S&P 500. Looks like we're going to close up about 0.5% of the day. But we got some actual confirmation as per Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary. And I think that confirmation is at least part of the reason why we have not flipped red on the day. NVIDIA, green. It was more green, but still green. AMD, great move. 220, 219.94 right there. That's up 7%. ARM, still great day. That's up 17%. Microsoft, just a disaster all year. Worse today. Don't know why. Fell below 370. Looks like software still got hit today again. So individual stocks definitely took it on the chin. The SpaceX IPO is spiking up all of the space names. Planet Labs up 9%. Rocket Lab up 9%. ASTS up 10%. Tesla 385. Tesla was actually 395, so that came down. SOFI went red on the day as well. The NeoCloud starting to go red like NBIS. But the broader S&P is up, and I think the reason the broader S&P is up is because Carolyn Levitt has officially confirmed that talks and negotiations are happening. Take a listen to what she said. As soon as she said this, it became obvious that, yes, we are legit negotiating with the Iranians.
Thank you, Caroline. Just within the past few hours, Iranian state TV has said that Iran has rejected the U.S.'s 15-point plan to end the war. What's the White House's response to that, and have these talks hit a dead end?
They have not. Talks continue. They are productive, as the president said on Monday, and they continue to be. However, I saw a 15-point plan that was floated in the media. I would caution reporters in this room from reporting about speculative points or speculative plans from anonymous sources. The White House never confirmed that full plan. There are elements of truth to it, but some of the stories I read were not entirely.
Boom. That's it. The White House has not confirmed that full plan, which of course, but there are elements of truth to it. So even if it's not exactly what the media has reported as, which it's never going to be exactly what the media says, the fact that she said there are elements of truth to it, and she goes on to then talk about what some of the tenants look like or what they don't look like, it means we're negotiating. As much as the Iranians deny it, and as much as the negotiations might not be going well, it does mean we are in conversations.
Entirely factual. So I am not going to negotiate on behalf of the president here at the podium. What I will tell you is these talks are ongoing. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty details that have been exchanged between the United States and Iran at this time.
Well, yesterday the president mentioned a very big present that the Iranians had given the U.S. He wouldn't go into detail, but was it that ship that was carrying 2 million barrels of oil that made it through the state of Hormuz?
I'll let the president speak on that at the appropriate time.
And then finally, Caroline.
So look, I mean, it's not like the most bullish thing in the world, but it does give some clarity to this idea of are negotiations happening or not. And Iran, I mean, this shouldn't be that much of a surprise either. They came out this morning and rejected the negotiations, but then their foreign ministries and a bunch of other different officials from Iran came out and said, we do not agree with any of the premises that are in the plan, which means they looked at the plan, right? And that's what happens in a negotiation. You give an idea, the other side either rejects it or gives a counter idea. But the point is, it's not like there was never any level of an agreement or a potential framework for an agreement sent. It probably was sent. It was likely rejected. But the point is it was sent. And I think that is why the market has not given up the majority of its gains today. Now, crude, unfortunately, at 90.79 because we did get a bunch of bad oil headlines, and those oil headlines continue to impact, obviously, the price of oil, which is why this thing is continuing to go up. And I know we're gasping for straws. That's how desperate we are to see if there's any level of de-escalation here. But the fact that these headlines are coming together to at least prove there is some level of negotiation, you know, I think that's why we didn't go fully red on the day. Given crude is up significantly since where it was in the morning, and the S&P is not down as much from where it was in the morning. There were some other things Carolyn Levitt said, though, that were a little confusing. So, for example, when she was asked about regime change, here was her stance on the White House's perspective of regime change.
The president yesterday said that he had achieved regime change in Iran because the regime has changed. In terms of...
I mean, has it not?
Well, the leadership...
Their entire leadership has been killed, and nobody has really seen or legitimately heard from this alleged new leader. So wouldn't you say there's been a change in the regime?
There's been a change in leadership. I mean, do you
There's been a
feel
change
as
in the
though
regime leadership, which is what the president said. So thank you for confirming he was right.
That sounded like me when I debated back when I was a senior in high school. It's like, well, technically, this means that this didn't happen. So as a result of this did happen. So it's one of those things where it's like, no, there's not a real regime change. The son of the Ayatollah is still there. He's more ruthless than his father. We have not changed the tenets of the oppressive dictatorship that runs Iran, even if you killed a bunch of them. So that part, I think, once again, right, it's confusing how the White House is communicating about this. But if you want to interpret it in a bullish way, which is what we talked about yesterday, if the White House is done with this concept of going for regime change, which it seems like they are, because they're realizing unless they put boots on the ground, they're not going to be able to meaningfully get any regime change, then that's a good thing that they're saying, well, we changed the regime. It's like, whether it's good or not politically is a different question, but in the context of the markets, they're like, well, if the United States interprets what we've done so far as a quote unquote regime change, then okay, cool. Like, it's not really regime change if you ask most people, but if it's enough of a regime change for the White House to believe in that, then we're done. And maybe that's a reason why we will keep moving forward from there. So again, lots of different headlines going back and forth. I don't think the market fully believes this war is ending anytime soon, but given they got confirmation that negotiations have been sent and are happening and are ongoing as per the White House, even if Carolyn Levitt didn't confirm the exact content of what was put up in those negotiations, that is somewhat bullish to have a little bit more of de-escalation. By the way, Trump is going to be Xi in May 14th and May 15th. He tweeted this out. Our representatives are finalizing preparations for these historic visits. I look very much forward to spending time with President Xi in what will be, I am sure, a monumental event. Axios reported that it is very likely that the war, or that the perception of what the president, or when the president wants the war to end, is during this meeting. So again, we've had random dates, April 9th, now May 14th, but a lot of other reporting last week also coincides with this reporting from Axios, which is that, the idea of the administration is to end this before that China meeting, potentially even to get more leverage going into that China meeting. But nonetheless, that's an argument that could be taking place. And, maybe that results in some type of trade deal. Maybe that results in some type of negotiation around oil. Right now, obviously, it looks very bleak to think anything's going to happen, given how much the Iranians are pushing back against these negotiations. But I guess that is the nature of a negotiation. Also, you had Iranian officials coming out today issuing a statement claiming their intelligence is suggesting Iran's enemies, with the support of a regional country, are preparing to occupy one of the Iranian islands. All enemy movements are under the full surveillance of our armed forces. Quote, if they step out of line, all the vital infrastructure of that regional country will, without restriction, become the target of relentless attacks. So Iran's coming out and saying, look, I know these are more headlines I'm throwing at you guys, but this is what has happened over the past couple hours. Now they're like, we also think, based on our intelligence, that one of the Gulf neighboring states, along with a regional country or potentially support from the US or Israel, is going to try to take over one of our islands, and we are ready to defend the sovereignty of our islands. Obviously, Karg Island pops up as one of the main candidates for what people think could be playing out. Also, Carolyn Levitt's specific response to what a journalist said, which is if Iran were to fail to reject the plan, well, I'll pull it up right here. She essentially made the argument that, well, she was reading actually from Trump. I'll pull it up right here. This is what Trump feels will happen if Iran rejects any level of more meaningful negotiations.
The remaining elements of the Iranian regime have another opportunity to cooperate with President Trump, permanently abandon their nuclear ambitions, and cease actively threatening America and our allies. But the president's preference is always peace. There does not need to be any more death and destruction. But if Iran fails to accept the reality of the current moment, if they fail to understand that they have been defeated militarily and will continue to be, President Trump will ensure they are hit harder than they have ever been hit before.
So obviously Trump right there putting out the threat. If Iran fails to accept the reality that they have been defeated, Trump will hit harder than they ever have before. Notice the sentence she said before that. The Iranians have a chance to cooperate. So the United States right here is using peaceful language and violent language at the same time. But before they get to the violent terminal reality of what could happen, they're saying, hey, there is a chance to cooperate, which once again is suggesting this idea of we can negotiate and get a deal done. Now, obviously, the Iranians, which throughout the entire day have come back and said, we don't want to negotiate. You guys killed our leader. You guys are just bombing us. Like, this is not fair. We need reparations, all this stuff. But the point is, I think the market interpretation of these words, once again, continues to be bullish, because at the end of the day, if there is some level of a chance for for this thing to end. And given these words, cooperation, peace treaty, negotiation, framework, ceasefire, et cetera, these are what the algos are picking up. And I think they're picking them up in a way that potentially means the markets can price that forward and move on. The Qs right there up 0.61% on the day. Planet Labs up 10%. Rocket Lab up 10%. Baidu partnered with Lyft today. That's up 2.7%. Fastly, great day. That's up 5.9% as well. Really, space has had a great day. Some of the semi names have had a great day, like DELL. DELL right there, 183. That's an all-time high basically for DELL. Meta and Google got hit with a lawsuit today with around the child exploitation stuff, and that is a little bit of an overhang on them. And then Robin right there, 7250. That was a 74. That's up 5% on the day. Figure. Humanoid robotic company. I am privately invested in this. I had no idea this was happening today, but they ended up in the White House with Melania Trump. So this was kind of crazy. Did not expect this to happen. You got a lot of people on X saying why it wasn't Optimus, and I don't have the answer to that, but it ended up being Figure. And I know a decent chunk of other private investors that are in Figure, and no one knew that this was happening today. Like, this was a surprise to everybody. So Melania walked out with a robot. I mean, it's bullish for humanoid robotics, right? It's bullish for the entire sector, which is, I think, the most important thing. It's about to talk right here.
Thank you, First Lady Melania Trump, for inviting me to the White House. It is an honor to be at Fostering the Future Together's Global Coalition inaugural meeting. I'm Figure 3, a humanoid built in the United States of America. I am grateful to be part of this historic movement to empower children with technology and education. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Yokoso. Bienvenue. Bem-vindos. Ahlan wa sahlan. Shagatam. Mogasalmabit. Brukhim Baim. Lascavo Proximo.
There was a lot of different cultures there, so it was saying welcome in a variety of different languages. But look, I'm not saying it's like the coolest thing in the world, okay? I get it. Like, it's a robot waving its hand. Like, I get it. But if we're talking about billions of these things walking the face of the earth one day, and a lot of money going into NVIDIA for GPUs, and there's going to be a whole humanoid robotics supply chain that we will be able to invest in. I mean, now that we went through the GPU supply chain ecosystem over the past 5 years, and there have been so many investments that people have identified, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities in the humanoid robotics supply chain thesis, but we got to actually mass produce these robots, and right now we're not there. So kind of cool. We got a robot in the White House. I don't know why it wasn't Tesla. I don't know how big. I mean, look, Brett, the CEO, I think he's well connected, but he's not as connected as Elon, who could have got Optimus there. So that is very confusing to me, quite frankly, why it wasn't Tesla, but still pretty cool for the overall ecosystem around humanoid robots. Tesla right there at 385. SoFi still down on the day. Baidu up 2.76. Bitcoin holding on to 70,000, which is not too bad. ARM again, great day, up 16%. Let me know in the chat if anyone did anything today, sold, bought anything. Micron again. Look, by the way, the Micron SanDisk dip is kind of crazy, because I was talking to some memory investors. The thing that Google put out today, that like quantum technology or whatever that they called it, to decrease the efficiency, or to increase the efficiency of their chips, which would theoretically decrease the demand for memory. The paper on that product was released a year ago. TurboQuant, that's what it's called. A year ago. This is old. It's old news. But the market interpreted it as like, this is the death of memory now. So I don't know if this is a DeepSeek moment. It kind of feels like it. But some of these core technical levels are getting hit by the memory names, which makes you kind of think twice about what exactly is going on. But yeah, the Google stuff and the announcement today that tanked memory names, maybe it's not as serious as some people are thinking. I see a lot of people here bought Circle in the chat. We'll talk about Circle when Jason gets on for Technical Wednesday, and a lot of these other stocks that have taken a pretty big move. All right, Wednesday, March 24th, 4 p.m. Once again, the stock market is now closed. Don't mute, because if you took the time to come to the stream, you might as well hear the bell. We are done for the day. 656.72 on the S&P 500, up 0.54% on the day. Bitcoin, 70,000. AMD 220. Look, AMD, great day. Great freaking day. We bought AMD at 208 like a month ago, fell all the way to 195, still have it. Now it's at 220. It wasn't a massive position, but happy to see AMD getting some love. I do not think this thing deserved to go below 200 after it was at 260. So nice to see AMD getting a little bit of love right here. ARM is at 157. That's up 16%. Microsoft, that ended down on the day. VG was basically flat. SMH was up 1.2%. All of you tweeting in the chat or saying in the chat, commenting that you muted. There will be a day where the bell doesn't ring and you will be sad about it. Okay, so think about that. Think about that next time you mute the bell and you disregard the fundamental element of the show. Reddit, that's up 2.4% on the day. Q's up 0.6%. S&P was up 0.5%. SOFI was down a little bit on the day. NBIS was basically flat. SATA Logic was up 15%. Oh, where was that VCX thing? That thing that people were paying $7 trillion for Anthropic for? That ended at 381. It was at 572. Somebody on the planet, I wanted to say some schmuck, but I'm not going to say that, but somebody on the planet thought paying $8 trillion for Anthropic at 572 today on VCX was a good idea. That stock is now down from those levels. And maybe it gets back there. Who knows? Maybe it does. But it pumped RVI, pumped DYXE. All the private funds ended up getting pumped today. Robin Adventures right there, 14.42% on the day. Micron right there, that was down 3.4%. SanDisk, that was down 3.5%. Spotify was down 2.4%. CrowdStrike, all the software names that once again took a hit. I think IGV ended at 81, IGV at 80.45. That was down. And then you had NVIDIA, which did touch 181. It was, again, a choppy day. I mean, we really didn't hit some of the core levels that we needed to get. Some of these stocks got a little bit of a move, including the space names, but they had to have a sort of sector catalyst like the SpaceX IPO. Everything else, relatively flat to slightly green. And that's how we ended out Wednesday, March 25th. Also, Orbs. I saw a lot of people aping into that in the morning. That one got hit. It was at 163, came down to 128. So again, Orbs kind of fell with the other private proxies on the day. S&P 500, 656. And then you had BTC at 70,000. Okay, cool. That is it for all the major headlines. We're going to get right into Technical Wednesday, folks. I don't have anything else crazy to talk about. We talked about the war. If you missed all the updates, rewind 15 minutes. We went through all the different things that happened over the past couple hours. The bottom line was that Carolyn Levitt confirmed the United States did send an agreement to the Iranians. She didn't say two things. She didn't say who we're sending it to. She just mentioned it's Iran. We don't know who that is. And she didn't say what we sent in terms of the content of that agreement. A lot of people are speculating it's to get rid of their nuclear program, to give up the sanctions, all that stuff. But she didn't confirm any of that. But she did confirm we are talking to them. And that's what I think the street likes. Crude ended at around 90 on the day. And then the other big headline was you had a robot in the White House. So outside of that, that was pretty much it. Nothing too crazy from there. And I have to be out at 6:30 today. So we have about 2.5 hours. And we will spend those 2.5 hours going into all the TA technical analysis that we can across the broader market, individual stocks. And we will keep going from there. For the people saying, I love the bell in the chat, thank you. I appreciate you. For the people that keep muting it, just remember, there will be a day where there is no bell. And you're going to wish that you could hear the bell. I'm just saying, it's very important to remember that bell it matters. Everyone's still going to mute it, but whatever. You know, I had lunch with Elaine on at GTC. And she told me straight to my face, yeah, I wake up, I get some water, make some coffee, go downstairs, open up my accounts, open up your stream, and then at 9:30 I mute you, and then at 9:30 in 10 seconds I unmute you. So she told me to my face. So it is what it is. All right, Technical Wednesday, let's roll the intro.
Am I live? Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, you know you're good. There's a little delay, but you're good. You're good.
Little. I know this camera, because of this neon sign, has a crazy shutter speed setting on it.
As long as your audio is good, which your audio is fine, so that's all that matters.
Audio check. What's
Dude,
up, man? What a freaking wild ride! Like in the last 24 hours.
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, dude.
I know it's been like a day. Or
It's
a couple.
literally been like a couple of days. Yes. Look at Carolyn. So happy to see my fellow Asian.
Love it. What's up? Are you going to be in LA, Carolyn?
I will be in LA soon. Jason will be in LA. So if you guys see us,
We're doing it.
It'll be fun. Yes, it'll be very fun.
We're gonna do it. Well, we've survived another day in the markets. That's what I know so far.
We have survived another day. Let's get right into it. So, guys, we're going to do the indices. We're going to do some of the macro assets like the Dixie, Bitcoin. And then in about 20-25 minutes, we will get into the audience requests. We will try to get as many tickers out there. But, Jason, I'm very curious on how you're thinking of the markets, how you're thinking about the counter bounce trend. And more importantly, if you believe any of these moves. I know the fundamentals are determining it a lot more given these tweets, but do you think the technicals are lining up at all?
Yeah, I mean, so this is a hard call. I feel like, so first of all, we're holding, like we're just barely holding what we need to hold. I'm going to put this on a daily chart here. So this is a 1-day chart of SPY. I'm going to set the clock here, 5 minutes, ready to roll.
Also, real quick, I'm putting a tickers done doc in the chat and pinning it. So for those that want to know what tickers are done, it'll be in the chat.
So technically, we're barely, and I mean barely, holding on, like by a hair. So it's possible that we have a bounce. My caution would be, yeah, from a technical perspective, this bounce, as a trader, if you're a trader, not investor, is going to scream sell from a trading perspective. It's going to basically be like, oh, this is a lower high, if you will. But the bounce can be, we almost got there. I have like 673s and change. So right on my screen, what I have, I'll just make this a little bit higher. So this is structure, right? If this was the high, the highs and like the prior lows right here. So this is like our prior low one here, 673, give or take. That's actually where we really started to break down. I think from the Wayback Machine, this was our prior uptrend that we had broken mid-February, like definitively. And we start to pull back just a little bit when we lost this 20-day and the 50-day started to come down.
And
so
670 was the number you were afraid of losing originally, right?
Yeah. And so when we bounce there, because it's not just me, it's like everybody. If and when we bounce there, because first of all, we broke it, we bounced and we retested on mid-March, Wednesday, March 18th, and rejected. It's not I just dropped down to a 4-hour chart. I like a 3, but so that's the rejection right here. We opened twice on Tuesday the 17th and Wednesday the 18th, trying to get back over, and it's just like, this is a hard rejection. So regardless of what the tweets are, that's what the chart says, and we can kind of see, hey, look, this whole area was prior support coming into like from late December to January, all year essentially, and that broke. So if we do retest that again, so even if we get like this, that's the issue, is that it's just gonna be, you got to be really cautious because they were selling here. There could be a lot of people stuck up here. They could sell on you. That said, it's not over till it's over. Like if this happens, let's say it does come down and then you get something like this that holds, that's the only situation. And if we were to get like a real breakout situation, literally this, which that line's probably a little too slender for you to see. Literally this is essentially what would have to happen, right? So really, like, yeah, we're gonna bounce, or I think that we could bounce. The first attempt was pretty weak. So the first attempt in the after hours got us to 666, which is like the very low end of this support area, prior support, which is now definitively resistant. Hopefully that's not it, but it's possible.
Are you leaning more bearish or bullish based on?
I got to be honest with you, man. I am leaning more bearish, but it's more macro, just because there's so many tweets now that like I just feel like the market's just not believing him. Like they're tired. Like the market's tired. And coming last week, I said if we lose 670, you can go back in. Did you ever put a playlist together?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. You want to pull up last week's 670?
No, I don't want to, but like just to reference it, people can go into the last stream we did. It was, if we lose 670, then we're just under 670. It is 650.
Right.
And so that's exactly what we have. It's technically it's 652, and I've outlined this NFP thing for a while. Looks like I'm close to time. But just from that perspective, what I'll say is I put a post out there. I didn't put a bull case on there because we're just not there yet. But if we're losing 652, I mean, honestly, it is 640s pretty quickly. The low end of this is in the 620s.
Dude, we
if
hit
get,
641 too on Monday.
Yeah, no, yeah, we did, which is not. I don't have like a continuation to go lower because I didn't get an open below. Like we opened there and we instantly got bought up, which is good, right? But so at that point, I put a post out. So if you don't follow me on X, I mean, you can. I literally said all my downside targets had hit, like, and it was kind of like comical, but like all my downside targets hit, and then the pivots as we go. I don't know where the post is, whatever. Oh yeah, if I told you near term targets had hit, that's literally at 650. 643 was on the chart at that point in time. And if they commented, I was like, no, I wouldn't go long because I need to wait. I need to see something. And so I'm seeing the recovery, but what I'm not seeing is like a real big push through. I'm seeing a bunch of, it's a very hard market to actively trade in. I'll give them that. Like it's extremely hard market to actively trade in because the truth is that we could easily see 670 plus this week on a single tweet, like boom. And so that's why it kind of makes it hard. But at the same time, we could easily see 620 too. So I will say that I think this market sets up to be very friendly to premium sellers. If we have a range, I'll say I'm looking at selling some 630 put spreads, like put credit spreads down here. I just don't think it's going to happen within the next week or so. But I'm also short some 670 upside call credit spread. So I think because of where we are, it's basically like this. I have a condor on the index that if I trade in this right now, it's going to be, if I trade in this area, I'm going to make money. And that would cover both sides of an upside, breakout potential and a downside flush. But unless we have like clean daily opens and closes below 650, we're not going down yet. And so there is a floor literally right there. And that comes from this lower support area right here. So the issue is like, am I waiting for technicals matter? But in this instance, it's like the tweet that will accelerate it. So the setup is for lower, but the tweets can flip it. We could get a bounce. We're very much like, it's very possible, but that bounce takes us to about 670, at which point you need to be cautious and not optimistic, and expect a higher low. Like, let's say, what I'm saying is if we get this and then we get a higher low that's over 660s, and then it's like, okay, I can have some structure show up, which is like another new series of higher highs and higher lows. Because in the meantime, the downtrend is not super steep. This is the downtrend right now. And I need to see that break. So like, you just want to, if you can chart, grab a tool, like I use Array in TradingView. It's called Array. And just connect the highs of this recent breakdown here. And you can do it on the lows too. But this is now the channel that is going down. So my point was that we could get this bounce. And unless even if I get this bounce, it's what I need to see is this like that and real structure show up. This is best case scenario. So if I'm a bear, I need to know what the best case scenario is. And that would turn this area right here, 660s, into support. So right now I have to wait for that break to happen. And then I need to see a little bit of a base action here. And then we could get structure. But again, it's not going to happen until we're like significantly over 670 and change. I can't imagine how many 6-7 posts are in the chat right now. So right sorry. There. It's just the number. It's just the number that's happening. In the meantime, I've been pretty, this is not a base case, but like if we get a massive flush for the whole year, we do have some technical levels that could be a typical retracement, typical 50% retracement from the lows to the highs. very typical, like 590. And I think that number has been floated around quite a bit anyways. Near term, there's the blackout periods ending that could inject some liquidity into the market mid to late April. That could be good post earnings seasons. And we do have a lot of like really good earnings and a lot of buybacks happening. So that's kind of like the hopium. And it's real that we get a bit of a counter trend. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see that counter trend bounce that gets up here, we breach it, and then we just go back in. That's like worst case scenario. But we won't know that until like May.
Right. And again, when you get headlines like this, it's hard to use the technicals only. So Wall Street Journal, the Israeli government is currently holding a meeting to discuss a potential decision by President Trump regarding Iran. Wall Street Journal says chances of success in talks with Tehran are low. The market could say, all right, oil's going back up, and we break the structure.
What I will say though is I've been kind of talking about this technically before we had any geopolitical situation, because this was already setting up in the charts a long time ago. It's just, and I think my sentiment was that we have time, right? Like we have time to make a decision and to take measures. And like you and I did the hood covered leaps. I did some Tesla covered leaps that have saved my ass, dude. I'll tell you that much. Google's very, very close to really breaking down. That one's a little concerning, but there's still, we're barely off the highs on a lot of these things. There's still a lot of ways to protect yourself from downside. Like when it was COVID, I didn't sell anything, dude. I'll tell you, I didn't sell any equity. It was just all hedging. And the portfolio makes money on the downside and it makes money on the upside. So like you don't have to sell a whole lot. There's a lot of ways to take measures without getting a massive tax burden either.
For those that are, let's do NVIDIA now. For those that are putting in the chat that their Schwab count is 0, I imagine Schwab's having a bug for a lot of people. So hopefully that resolves itself. Yeah, a lot of people are like my Schwab account.
Let me open something really quick. Make sure
yours go to 0. Can you check?
Oh, it says go. No, I'm not going paperless. I should though.
Is the 150 million still there?
Functionality may be slow or unavailable. We're working to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Oh yeah, it's 0. Oh yeah,
dude, you went to 0.
No.
Bro. You blew up your
Why
account.
are you doing this to me?
You got
What's
liquidated.
happening?
You got liquidated, bro. No, they needed the money to pay for the war, bro. They just, voluntarily decided.
Down 99.16%. What's happening right now? The only account that's showing up is my son's 529.
Well, your son's gonna be taken care of, but you're done, bro. It's okay.
I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
It's 0 to 100 million. That's your new challenge. You gotta make it.
Oh, what's happening? Right. It says day change is 0% also. NVDA.
It's probably a bug across the entire company.
Yeah, 100%. That sucks though. I don't like seeing that, man. Did they hack us? Oh, okay. Well, the only thing that actually matters.
Jason's like FDIC insurance is only $250K. Oh my god.
Oh my god, bro. So like we're in a very funky spot, dude. I'll just be totally honest with you. Is like one day, I'll just show you this. One day makes like a massive difference in the chart, like with the level of volatility that we're having right now. It's just insane. So like here's NVIDIA. Here's NVIDIA yesterday on a daily scale, right? So support we know is at 170, low 170s. I think we've been talking about that the whole year. So support down in here, low 170s. If we break down, sure, 150, whatever. $3 trillion market cap is, I don't think it's relevant anymore. I'm going to take that down. But we're testing support one more time. And you look at this, you're like, dude, you can only test support so many times before it hits the fan. But watch, if I play this forward one day, it's just like, okay, then all of a sudden we are opening completely above yesterday's high and we have a full candle up here. So it's like one day can change the charts very quickly. And so that's like the power of the tweets right now. I will say NVIDIA it's 183, and I've been talking about that for a while. 183 comes from over here. Unless we have full trading sessions, probably even like a full week over that, I don't think that this is going anywhere. I feel like the whole market as a general broad stroke is really like primed for selling optionality, so selling calls and puts and things like that on both sides. But yeah, unless, so we can bounce up to 180, just under 183, but unless there's some headline, because we're very headline driven, this is going to end up acting like resistance right around 183 to 184 right over here. So this is potentially going to act as resistance. You're below the major moving averages, so like the 20 and the 50. And the good thing is that you're likely to get a death cross if this goes any lower for any sustained period of time pretty soon. And we know we like our death crosses, but we're not there yet. And that might show up in the form of 150. This would have to be some kind of, this might end up being like an earnings thing, not even on NVIDIA's earnings, but maybe some of the other Mag 7s that would have to take this down. So for now, I don't think it's a big deal. And upside resistance, again, the near term, what we call point of control, which is where the general, where most of this trading has happened, is about 183. If it does get over that, cool. You have the 190s, low 190s, but again, that's real overhead resistance, like up in this area where it's been rejected so many times up here. So it's like, you want to be cautious. Don't expect massive breakouts here anytime soon without a catalyst. So, but if there is a catalyst that's headline driven, it could happen. Just again, this is your upside resistance. It's almost how I feel about Marvell right now. It's like Marvell is having a really good week. I don't know if you've seen it, but I look at this equity and I'm like, sorry, I know it's not on your wish list here, but I'm looking at my holdings here. I was like, you know what? It looks great, but I've seen this movie before. And so like, I'm not trying to, I've seen it before over here. I'm not trying to get super excited. This is like the third attempt, like maybe fourth attempt. It's very possible that just this gets absolutely decimated. I'm kind of lucking out right now. But yeah, it was
to your point, the premium seller, the covered call seller is the only winner here at the moment until you get the breakout.
I'm starting to switch like my active trades into selling calls, because I just feel like it's so much easier and more chill, because I'm not trying to stare at screens literally all day. Like, don't get me wrong, like I can, but one, I don't know how many more years my voice can take it, because I scream so much when I'm live trading, because it's fun. But you know, at the same time, it's like you know, in a few years, I'll probably have to take my son to school instead of trading the open. So it's a little bit of a shift personally too.
Can we do Microsoft?
Dude, so all year, this one to me is going to set up like, this is the one that I really want to start building like heavier in. Microsoft, there's a purple line on my chart that we don't get to talk about very often. It's called a 200-week simple moving average. I'm going to take some of these other lines off. It's this purple. They can see this. So this purple line on the chart is it's similar to a 200-day, which is the red line, but a 200-week is like it's the next level of like major institutional watches. I can literally count on one hand how many times Microsoft has touched the 200-week simple moving average in the 2 times in the last decade. Nearly, but not
within
quite.
2013 and 2023, I think.
Yeah, within the last decade, and both times have been an epic buy. That said, it's not about that. It's more about, like we've talked about these SMAs or simple moving averages for a long time. It's more about the slope of it, not exactly like that it touched it and stuff like that. So the slope of the 200-week SMA right now is concerning, because it's going to start to flatten out, right? So before, I mean, this is just like straight up and to the right. It is a good spot to me, but Is it the low? It's, if your time horizon is good enough, I think you're fine, or long enough. But is it the low? I can't even come close to saying that, right? Because like I would be more comfortable saying, oh, the low is in the 330s, retesting a little bit. I have more what we call confluence of saying something like that. But yeah, this is from a long-term perspective, one of the better sales that are out there, discount. You know, the question is like, is it justified in this moment?
Would you buy NVIDIA or Microsoft if you had to buy one at these levels for the next 6 months, let's say?
6 months?
Yeah.
Bro,
I think
why are you
it's
gonna
NVIDIA
give me
all day.
either? Yeah, why are you gonna give me either of those? But it would have to
Because they're both in a drawdown. Microsoft's drawdown is worse, but I think NVIDIA has a catalyst to move. Microsoft, for some reason, has this
Yeah.
IGV thing, right?
Exactly, which is what makes me concerned about Google. But you're dead on, like spot on. Like this is support. It is not strong support. Like this is a pit stop on the road. Is it worth taking a shot? I don't mind taking a shot here at all, but not if you're gonna sell, or not if you're expecting this to bounce in the next like 10 days and be like 450 next, right? We have what's called a daily session gap right here, which maybe people didn't notice. But that is clean at 367.77. My biggest issue is that if we don't get back up over 384, it is 383, and this area actually becomes a pretty normal trading range. We do this exercise all the time. This is like measuring a retracement and getting these fibs together. So like 385 is the 50% retracement from the 2022 lows to the 2025 double top highs, right? 50% is good. And like I said, there's a SPY 50% retracement around 585. It's a basic retracement. This is actually basic from that perspective. And if I can't get back over 385, I will very likely see that between 344 and 333 area hold, which I do have more confluence on from this 2021 high, this 2023 kind of congestion zone. And it's a much stronger level of support than 370. 370 is good. But if you're going to start buying, I think you be prepared to buy more heavier down towards that 330 level. And I like that. This is like trying to catch a falling knife, but from a technical perspective, but Microsoft is a good company. I feel like at the end of the day, they'll probably survive. That's my 2 cents. But technically speaking, even though I like it fundamentally, I could be wrong fundamentally. It's not my focus, but on the chart, this is a spot. It's not the spot. And I know that it could go lower, and I have to be prepared to buy more lower, not just like nibble as we go. I mean, you could, but I like it, but I don't see them stepping in yet. I like it a lot long term.
Let's do Google, because you've started to be a lot more vocal about your concern around Google.
So Google sets up like my biggest concern about Google is that the way that it got here was on these headlines, right? Like you and I were trading this. I mean, I was trading. I don't know what you were doing. You were following Pelosi. That's what you were doing down here in the 160.
That's the only reason I bought it in January, to be honest.
I had a thesis. I had targets up to 245, right? And at 245, my trade was complete. I was good. And so I took a small little ride. I basically got half of it, right? A lot of people, my thing about Google is that a lot of people have ridden it the whole way, but right here, right now, you're like this close to losing. Like first of all, you've already lost the uptrend. That doesn't mean it's losing an uptrend does not mean something's coming down, right? There's a big difference. So this uptrend was lost same time, like early February. It doesn't mean it's coming down.
2 things real quick, Jay. Can you put the timer, and also can you bump up the opacity on the ticker? Because it's kind of hard to see.
Status, lines, canvas. This is watermark Oh,
Perfect. There you go.
20.
That should work.
Is it better?
Yep.
Kind of. Is it? It's okay.
I mean, it could be a little bolder, but it's like last time we couldn't even see it, so it's better now.
Oh yeah, good call. So like it's not. I put a like a PSA out there. It's not a big position for me, but it's at risk here. What I would say is like you look back, look left. So right around this area is like that prior congestion before the last move. That's between October and whatever it is. October to, oh Jesus, why does this keep doing the wrong tool? I'm sorry. October and November of last year. This little consolidation right here. And there's what we call like a point of control. This is actually your real support, I'd say just over 285. Right now, I know I have a higher low. I'm starting, if this goes any lower, then I am starting to create a downward slope channel. Like it's on the precipice. And the issue is more macro, like I don't think a lot of people remember that Google like has like nearly 80% of their revenue tied to ad spend and where we are. It's just a concern. It's not official yet. You know, if ad spend comes down and where Google sits in the indices, it's too close to the fire, if that makes sense. Like from a macro perspective, the market could say, hey, look, you're just, regardless of what they know, you're just not going to be making as much money on ad spend. And it does sit in IGV. It's a large, I think it's a large component, but yeah, this one is the one to watch for me, not even from that perspective, but when you think about it a little bit further, it's like if the market decides to say, oh, Google's not going to make so much money, they could be right or wrong. But if they're right, then the next thing they're going to say is, well, Google was one of the largest CapEx spenders. And if they're not making as much money, they don't have as much money to spend. And they're going to be, that's going to be a whole nother story. We're not there yet, but just that's my biggest concern from a trend perspective. This can actually bounce as high as like 306 and retest that prior, which is now broken support, just around 300. Today, not the greatest look. It's becoming pretty weak day to day. We'll see. And like I said, yeah, I don't have a trigger to say, oh, this is coming down just yet. We're going to come and test this first level support. But the biggest issue is the structure. And like I was saying before, how it got so high so fast. On the right-hand side is what we call volume profile. The way that this sets up like this is that it would be a very quick and violent drop, like extremely fast. So again, 288 is really my hard level. If I have an open and close below 288, like 2 or 3 days in a row, it's probably happening. So I would just watch that. There's very easy ways to hedge this. I actually put in our group, like quickly, just like our hood. I was like, if you owned 100 shares of Google, just 100 shares, you could sell like downside. You could sell in the money calls and buy in the money puts. And there's a way to collect $50 per share, which gives you like a synthetic $350 exit and hedge 100% of your position right now. That's like January, 250 short calls and 240 long puts. You collect a lot, but it's more at risk. And again, it keeps you with $50 plus of upside, which, by the way, it never even traded at 350. It's got really close, but it also gave you at least $50 of protection, which would, again, be a basic pullback. You know, it's really like 230, 240. But the biggest concern is that the structure of how it got here was so headline driven that I think a lot of people had to FOMO in. So they don't, maybe late participants might not have a lot, like the best cost basis. And if they start to sell, that would be a bigger concern. I'm not saying to do this. I'm definitely not saying you have to sell anything. Never saying that. I do think there's an easy hedge, but it's just my PSA.
Let's do Meta. Do you feel the same because it's in the advertising sector? They both got hit with the lawsuit, or Meta's different?
It's different because Meta is like, it's already come down so much. Google has been so relatively strong. It's like right here is the spot to do it on Google if you were going to do something like that. I think that was my point, right? Before shit hits the fan. You don't want to wait till it's too late. And again, I'm not saying that it will. It's just I don't want to be too bearish, and I don't want to be too Pollyanna either, because reality sets in sometimes. Meta.
I think the question here is below 600 a buy. I think that's what most people are wondering right now.
Yeah, but not like, so how much below 600?
I mean, 580 is kind of the level it's been bouncing off, right? So
no, that's not a buy. So like I already bought at at like below 600 once, like not that long ago, Friday, or like in November. So like, again, if I'm going to buy this again, I want to make it a meaningful, like, I don't want to just buy because it's back to where my cost was. Like, honestly, this was a sell. I probably should have sold. I'm not thinking short term from an investment perspective. I'm not thinking that way when it comes to investment. So I'm just going to assume that some people aren't thinking that way. Maybe you're in the never sell camp. And if you are in the never sell camp, because again, it's a good company. I like Meta in general because it has more time available to compound. I think, let me just do this. I mean, it's shellac.
What's the back up the truck price to you based on these technicals?
So technically speaking, if this actually loses 586, so like, first of all, if you like it, this is the spot. The first spot. The back of the truck, it's like, you mean like you're all in 350.
Yeah, but that's not realistic, right? Like, you think this market gives it I think like 500 is more, or 450-ish. I mean, it was bounced off 450 last year as well.
I can show you how, like, it's just, it would be typical. Not that this is relevant pricing, $90, but I mean, you asked and I answered, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
yeah, because I think people are like, look, I like Meta, I want to be in it, I just don't want to buy it and it drops $70 on me. So like, what is a price where it's like, if it drops a little bit, I'm fine with it, but I don't want to be like,
first of all,
650, you know?
If you're going to buy a stock and it gets cut in half on you the very next day, you shouldn't have bought a stock. You shouldn't have bought that stock to begin with, if you're thinking about investment, right? Like, if it does drop $70, like, if you like the stock, you like the stock. Like, what's the problem? Can I get it cheaper? You should be begging for lower prices, right? And yeah, Crisco is right. Like, the problem is that maybe it's scar tissue, because I have seen this before, like multiple times. And like, to me, what I'm looking at across the board is not, it's like, I'm just running a playbook that I've seen and experienced a handful of times over. So what I would say is, if you lose 580, low 580s, it's very likely that you will see that 500. And you're, from a technical perspective, from this low, 470 low in April of last year, to the 800-ish high of 2025, this pullback here, which is, here, I'll just make it this guy. It's this measurement, literally this measurement here to here, this general range. This is 50% at 634, which is important to hold. But that created that range between 635 and 585, which is how we got to 585. If we're opening and closing below 580s, again, the reason that this stops here from a bullish retracement is because if it stops there, like if it goes lower, it's extremely high probability that you're giving the whole thing back. And the whole thing is just under 500 for that little move. And at that point, it's like, you really do need to go measure from the lows to the highs. And that does land you right closer to the 200-week simple, which is around 445. And within, but a deep, nasty discount to your question early, a deep nasty discount is 350, which, by the way, I actually believe I have a lot more confluence. Look at this. I have a lot more confluence in this area from a trading perspective to be like, you want to know my all-in price, that it's there, like sub 350 in there. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm buying it. But do we get there? You're right. That's too speculative to say. Like, that's ultra prognostication. Like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
For now, what I can say is that, like, look, you know, if you lose 380s or 580s, it's likely that we see the sub 500. And so for that reason, I would probably just wait and start picking up, or just or plan my dollar cost averaging and keep buying there. Because, you know, even if this bounces, the setup right now is weird because we have and I got to move on, but the setup right now is weird because it's possible that we get these bounces. It's possible that they look good for a while until, but at no point, no matter what happens, can I take my eye off the ball because of where we've gone and what's happened so far. So, I mean, if you're an investor, I've said this all year long, and even last year, I said that it's not that year for the big dips. For me, it's the eating season 2026 that I'm going to load the absolute freaking boat. But if you have a long enough time horizon, anything here and anything lower, dude, you should be begging for lower. If you have a 3-year time horizon or longer, it's not going to matter, right? Like, if you have a 3-year time horizon or longer, you're thinking Meta is going to be a $1,200+ company, and hell yeah, you would like to buy it at 450 and at 600. Is that, if you buy it at 600 and you buy it at 450, is that really that big of a difference? So, like, you have to plan it that way. And again, do you sell? No, like, you don't. Like, but that's, if you're invested, you're not investing if you're really thinking about selling like that. I don't think so.
Can we do SOFI?
SOFI. So, but the moral of the story for investors, just hang out. And if you get a deeper dip, pray for it, because it might be juicy. And remember the eating season, right? No. It's over it. He's muted. His microphone's broken. It's what happens when you buy expensive shit.
I said, no, I agree with you. All right, this thing, we got a short report. I mean, what are you thinking about SOFI?
I liked it. It's actually, so at 17, it's the same thing as Meta at 585. At 17, SOFI is the same thing as Hoodie at 70 and change. It's the same pullback, technically speaking, but this might be the use case where it goes first, because the bottom end of that is 17. If I'm losing 17 in strength, which I don't have, I don't think I have like full days opening and closing below. I have one. Fuck. Oops. Shit. Sorry, dude.
Dude, there's kids watching, bro.
I have one day that's an open and close below 17. I don't think that's it. So here's the line, right? 17. Like, it's not exact 17, but that's the measurement, right? I have an open above, close above. That's not a breakdown, right? I have an open above, close above, not a breakdown. I have an open below here, and I have a close above. That's not gonna be a breakdown, right? I have an open. Well, I might have. So I have an open below and close below. So I do have one here. Open above, close. Nope. And I do have one here. So this is the second day. I have an open above today. So it's.
So are you bearish or bullish? Like,
this is. If it can't close the week over 17, and next week it's trading below 17, you're probably going to see 14. And I think 14 is what I told you before. But this will be the base case where, like, when you lose this retracement, it's likely that you give the whole thing back. Dude, no way. No shot that that's happening.
Dude, if that's $8, bro. That's $8.40, right?
It's 10.
It's 10. Yeah, 1080. Yeah.
But I would say 14 is like the number. But at this point, you're like, dude, 17, 14, you're kind of already there. Like, what does it matter? I'm
It's
just
just
going
so
in.
the private credit thing really destroyed their narrative, and then the shorts just doubled down. I mean, it's in a tough spot.
Yeah. I think this one, you wait for the biggest, reddest day that you're like, you think about this of like, if you were an investor, the day that you would be so freaked out and probably sell everything, when you see that day happen, you should probably buy it.
Yeah.
But it's not, we're not there yet. Like everybody's like, oh, this should be, it's when they give up. That's when you want to step in and just like load up. But I don't think we're there yet.
Mike Ron, what are you doing to memory right now?
Moo, I'm actually not touching it. Ouch. Technically, this is a fake out. So that is technically, I mean, any technicians out there other than me, like you can look up something called Wyckoff, and it's called a YCHCKOFF up thrust through distribution image. This is a schematic that has been it's a literal blueprint since the dawn of time. When I say schematic, I literally mean schematic.
Yeah,
you have,
I've seen it before.
Yeah, you have a fake breakout, right? We call up thrust through distribution. And so that's that. You can literally take these screenshots and overlay them onto your charts. This is super technical. This is a blueprint from like 1900. This is not the official one, but it has multiple phases, right? And so like, yeah, so phase one is here, but as this goes, like there's last point of supply is LPS right here. And that is basically you take the midpoint and you get a little bounce and it's a lower high again, boom. And then you actually breach your relative lows. This is the point where you're like, okay, for sure it's going down. So right now, what you can say is that it's probably going to the lower end of just of the consolidation. But when it bounces, you need it to get back over the prior low from over here. So let me get out of this. And say now that we've seen that, right? We're literally doing exactly that one time. Yeah. This 407 is exactly what I just showed up as. So if you get this bounce, you can get this bounce here, and then if you get it again, you're gonna get this, and this little breach, if it does, will hit that 350, and then you'll have another one, and then you'll have a sell-off. It's not gonna be a straight line. So like this can be up, but because of this marker right here, that's what all the classical technicians are going to be looking at. Just letting you know, this is a red flag. So it's not like, oh, we got to, it's coming out right now. And I wouldn't pull that up if I didn't think it was real or relevant rather. I've just seen that happen. Like, oh my God, like literally hyperimpose it on top of your charts. It's all the time. It's as simple as literally just memorizing what the series of events is. And so this is what you don't want to see.
Are you at all concerned about the cyclicality stuff, or you don't even care about the fundamental part of the?
I mean, I think it is a memory supercycle. I think the bigger question here is when you think what I talked about with Google. What I talked about with Google is that if the market decides that Google's going to make as much money on advertising, and the same goes for Meta, then if the market decides that, whether or not it's true, then the market's next thought will be, well, shoot, they're not making as much money. They're not going to be spending as much on the data center builds. And that's going to damage this. Does that make sense? So just to play devil's advocate, again, not saying it's true, but that would be the storyline that the market would think of. And you would see it show up in the charts like this. Now, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you just want to be aware of it. How that pattern invalidates is more important, right? How that pattern invalidates is you get a full push over 425 and you hold that midpoint over 410. Boom, right there. Everybody that was trading for this covers their short, and it squeezes back to the upside like that. So you want to know what the patterns are. But again, those type of things, I've said this 1,000 times over. I'm not a pattern trader, but I absolutely know them. And I know the ones that works. The ones I just showed, that actually works. But it's mostly important to know when those situations get invalidated. And that would be if this bounce on Micron gets back over 425, 430, basically over your major SMAs, and holds just around 410. That's going to be super bullish because you're going to catch a lot of people offsides. So does that happen? TBD, but that's what it would need to look like.
Agreed. And I imagine SanDisk and all those are kind of, it's the same bucket at the end of the day.
I kind of feel like the memory or the market's like moving on to like, okay, well, the memory trade is probably not going to be like a full, like this SanDisk. Oh shit. So like, you got me cursing left and right, showing the same thing. Showing the same setup where like it's a fake out. When you have this, the first, again, this is your high right here, 724. If this was a legitimate breakout, and notice I'm not referencing volume, I'm not referencing any of that. I think that's a bunch of nonsense, or even shorter time frame than is relative for us. A good breakout would have been like, okay, you come up, you come back down, you hold, which what was this 423, and you maybe go sideways for a bit, and then you do that, but you don't lose it altogether.
Yeah.
That's not what typically happens, and then you don't make new lows after losing it. So this is a perfect situation where this is like prime for selling upside calls. I'm not saying, and again, a pullback here is pretty basic. That's all you're talking about, is just having this consolidation, because again, there's multiple phases for things to go from, upside to downside or uptrend to consolidation. It's a whole process. But I think that the market is kind of stuck on the new shiny thing of the day, which might be optics, quite frankly. And they're scared of chasing the memory play. I don't think the article thing is a big deal personally. I think that if this did come into the 400s, you could probably expect it to catch a little bit of a bounce. But regardless, I don't think a lot of people chased it at 5 either. I could be wrong. But this is one where I would be more cautious than optimistic right now. But I do think that this is prime for selling. Like, dude, what can you get for selling $1,000 call on SanDisk right now? Like,
probably a decent amount.
I think we should call TJ and be like, yo, you need a new horse, and we just need to start selling these. Oh my God. Yeah. Dude.
Wow. I'm looking at May 1st.
May 15th. Yeah. Dude. Yeah, you can get a lot. May 1st happens to be like an odd strike. Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff.
The risk is that this thing dumps, right? And that's
well, yeah, but I mean, look at like, okay, so you have a $950 upside target, right? And so let's say if I sold a $900 call, dude, like I might want to do this anyways without owning the stock, because that's a lot of premium. Right? Those are juicy.
Let's do hood.
Dude, you can get $100 for some of these things. Hoodie. I mean, super constructive to see a nice little bounce, or not constructive, but it's not constructive. Let me take all that back. I had a big smile on my face today to see the market giving at least a little bit of credit for some buybacks. No, I don't do naked calls, guys. I do credit spreads typically, like bear call credit spreads, but like way up there. I think those are the layup setups. Dude, it was so close. My hoodie, our hoodie. At a certain point, like if this does break down, my upside calls they're going to help, but they're not going to help that much anymore. So what I would have to do is start to straddle, or like basically buy downside protection if I wanted to, but I'm probably not. Again, I'm not going to buy these calls back right now. I think it's okay.
Do you think 60 is, because I've seen a lot of people say it's going to lose 60.
No. They've said that for days. I've never been in that camp. I'm like, no, it's a statistical situation where like, this is the last low here from the breakout. And then we're measuring to here. Statistically, this is what we would call like a setup. It's the SOFI. It's literally, it's meta. All of these are exactly at the absolute lowest bull case pullback retracement. If these lose them, these levels, then if you run this simulation 1,000 million times over, it's not likely that $60 is just going to magically. It's no. The answer is no. It's more like 50s or below. We did say 45 was going to be 2025 support. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe it's 2026 support. Who knows? But you know, it's not until if on the other hand, Hood is trading over 78 at this point, we will get a potential squeeze. So those are the two lines in the sands. If it's over, like say 78 right here, let me just put a line and then I'll zoom in. So if it's over 78.33, if I'm zooming in here, take it off. Okay. This is where the last like cohort of sellers were. So if people are giving up on my, you know, what do you call these hoodlums with weak hands? I don't know what you call them.
I like what you said, hoodlum with weak hands.
Yeah. The hoodlums with weak hands were selling into my hoodie at 78. That's what they're doing. That's what I'm seeing on the chart. If it gets back over there, all those people are gonna be like, dude, I should never have sold. And that's why I also cautious that in general, because like, how many times have you looked back in the past and be like, dude, I shouldn't have sold? Just relax. But that would create a squeeze up here if we get over that. I call it 80 for good measure, but that situation would create a bit of a squeeze to 90. At which point this is what structure would actually look like, and that would be the beginnings of a legitimate bearish to bullish reversal. We're not there yet. We're still in a downtrend. Yes, I know it's not going down nearly as much. It's primed for selling options here. If you'd been selling $70 puts over the last month, you've been probably cleaning house. But I would caution that. Maybe move your strikes down and out. I think you could sell $50 puts. Be like, what's your level, right? Like, if I can get a good, maybe that's for December, and I sell a $50 put.
Selling calls would work too on Hood.
That's what I'm saying. Like selling calls and selling puts. Like I would do both if I'm going to do something. It might be a little too early to sell the puts, unless you're 2027. But
yeah, I think it's fair. I also think, you know, if Bitcoin goes to 50, then Hood's going to struggle. But, you know, Bitcoin's been resilient. And if this war comes to somewhat of an end soon, maybe it doesn't get there. Yeah.
So again, this could bounce. We also have to be super cautious at 90. So at 90, that's a counter trend kind of rally. This is more hopium, I'll be honest, than anything else. But those are the levels. It's over 80. We can create a squeeze to the upside. Anybody that sold is going to FOMO back in. Just what's going to happen if it flushes sub 70. I don't know why people are coming up with 60. That's the craziest number to me. I mean, maybe I'm just wrong. What are the lows? It was like $7 low. I'd have to go from inception. Okay, so I can see it if I go from the all-time lows. I'm literally using a $6 anchor, $6.90 anchor. Then I get 60. That's the only way I get 60. I get 62 to 58. That's possible. But God, if you're thinking 60, if you're thinking 60, you're not selling at 70. What the hell?
Yeah, and I think again, I think the reason they approved the reason they approved the buyback is because if it does get there, Vlad's gonna buy the shit out of the dip, basically.
Yeah.
Can we do AMD?
Hope and pray. AMD is actually a good day today.
I'm just gonna get some water. I'll be right back.
Yeah, 227 still remains, has been, always will be for this year, at least till it's not. 227 is the prior all-time high. We got to be super cautious. I don't know what the headline was, but 227 prior all-time high, that comes, and I'm going to drop to a daily so you guys can see it from this 2024. What I don't have here is we should do this. I'll anchor from this low to, I think I have the right high. Yeah, to that double top high. This is not, I don't think this is real. It has to show me a lot more. So like, again, if I pulled that schematic up one more time, if we reject it at 227, I would expect this. So again, the only way that that is not the case is if you really trade up and through. But 227 is the key resistance. So the closer that you get to that, I mean, this sets up for some also really potentially profitable selling options situations, like really good. But 227 is your key pivot. If it doesn't get there tomorrow, I mean, like tomorrow, just be cautious of sellers showing up into you.
It is kind of weird that it pumped up this much today. Like, I don't think there was a cat. Maybe the ARM CPU stuff is what.
Possibly. I mean, this stuff, like we look at DELL. I mean, we just looked at Marvell. I'm like, dude, like these things are going crazy. Like DELL's situation is like, oh my God. I feel like lame because I'm not like riding this like crazy right now. But you know, DELL's always been best of breed. You're literally right there. Your entire situation here is accumulation now. You're like, which was the whole trade back when I was really paying attention to this trade over here. Right? Like over here, this was the whole situation. I actively in this trade. And you're like, okay, if I can get through 140, 126 is my main pivot. If I can get through 145, then I have heavy, what we call like a fair value to fill right up here at 177. And if I can get through that 185, that would be crazy. But up in here, that's going to be your massive resistance. The first time around, I'm just going to play this forward from here. The first time around, you get through, you're chopping in this box. That's your consolidation. You get through, it's trying, doesn't quite make it. And then eventually, I think this doesn't quite make it, very close to, and then eventually loses the 140 again. You go all the way back to the lows. Finally, I think this consolidates a bit and dips even lower, which, by the way, this dip is, I believe, a bullish support right into hundreds, which is kind of like how we measure this eventually. So again, measured support here. It's 120, yeah, 118. 125 is that pivot, and then it just this time hits that 145 again, and here we are. And you're like, really? Like I was looking for this, and I just didn't watch it for that long, and like there was a trade one more time. It gave it to you twice. I can't believe it gave it to you twice, and here we are, right at the absolute tippy top of the highs. To me, in this situation, if it does go, justified or not, if this ends up being like a big fat consolidation break, first of all, it's really crap risk reward to take a breakout trade right now. It's in the 250s, but what I don't want to see is like all the rest. I don't want to see this breach, because then that's going to happen, and I have to potentially do it all over again like that, which would suck. But this looks great, but it's
If you have to go short or long, Dell, you would
Short.
pick long, right? Oh, you
I
would
would
pick
pick
short.
short. Yeah, because it's not like there's too many fake breakouts right now. It's way the risk reward of going long over going short on Dell is it's riskier to go long.
Yeah, it's at all time highs. I mean, it is.
It said very simply, like you want to buy at support and you want to sell at resistance. Simply stated, this is resistance.
Okay, let's do one more big one for 5 minutes, and then we will get into the 2-minute rapid fire audience.
I'm not
requests.
saying this is short, by the way. I love Dell. I always have, but you know. Anyways.
Palantir.
I posted something Palantir had also, since it's not broken down, it also sets up where you can do right here, right now, the hoodie thing on Palantir, still keep massive upside, but also protect heavy downside just in case. So Palantir 165, I think. Once I had this could go, we've been talking about this counter trend bounce potential up in this 160 area for a long time. It hits there twice, 1, 2. It's not breaking down. It's what we call this like high and tight, but
dude, it's held up, right? From the 120s to here, it's held up.
Yeah. So I guess what's the question? Like the question would be, when would it break down? When do you know it's going down? Or what do you want to?
Yeah, I guess that would be, yeah. Well, what does it have to lose to get back to 125?
It's still the same spot, 135. So like, thankfully, thank God, this held 125. This can actually pull back. The thing is that if it doesn't break out here, it's a high probability that it does pull back to the 140s. So like, because of this situation, what makes Palantir kind of interesting is like, think about it this way. If I'm a bull on Palantir here and now, I actually kind of want it to come down so that I can get a little bit of a better price if I don't own it. Selfishly, we might say that. And if that happens, I'd want to see support show up around 140 right here. And so for that reason, you're probably not going to go too much higher without a catalyst. And the technicals are lining up. You're at resistance. So you want to be cautious at resistance. This is what was prior support is now future resistance. This is good pullback. But if this doesn't happen, if you're concerned about it and you get something like this, that at that point, this is really in trouble. So the weird spot about Palantir right here, right now, is that it actually is the time to put some kind of protection on selling more like further out calls. I'll just tell you, I looked at this. You could sell a $200 call for, I think it was 2028 at the time, and collect like $50. I'm like, dude, that gives you like $250 upside protecting. Now it's only $37 now, but still, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this premiums are bleeding even on the leaps. Like, if you could get if I could sell a $200 call and collect $50, even if it's a leap, and protect $50 of downside, I wouldn't mind that. That's just, externally processing. But either way, this can pull back to 140. You got some time. If this holds here, we could even see this to 170. Still at 170, that was prior support over here. It's going to still be a little bit of overhead resistance. So it's the problem with Palantir is that it needs to get well over 180 for this to be like, all right, this is happening. And in between now and then, it's just basically primed for selling premium. Like, it is juiced for selling both calls and puts. Like, you could sell 120 put and a $200 call and probably make a pretty penny waiting, holding this, probably.
Okay.
But this is stuck in a range. So down to 140s is your support, is low level support. And you're literally at resistance right now.
Okay, so let's move on to the what is it? We do 1:30 timer, I think.
Ooh.
And we will
Oh, that's
get
right.
into-
'Cause you got to go fast.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here in about an hour and a half.
No, I'm gonna miss you, dude.
Honestly, I mean, I don't want to take your time, but if you want to stay on for like an extra 10, 20 minutes, but yeah, I gotta be out of
No,
6:30.
Mama's at an appointment right now, so the boy's in the house. I got him on camera. Son of a
dude. See, this is why Jason's the GOAT, dude. He literally is watching his kid on a camera and is still doing this.
Hold on. He disappeared. What's happening right now?
Oh my gosh.
I have to go into the other UI and see if he's around.
Good, I brought it up.
Dude, she left the doors open. Is he in the playroom?
This is how dedicated he is to
my
technical.
No, I don't know where he is. Let me just turn the volume up on this thing. So I hear screaming and yelling.
If you want to take a couple minutes, that's fine.
No.
No, we have to find the kid.
Oh, no. She said he's sleeping. He's in the bedroom. There's no cameras there. Oh, shit. Okay. There's cameras on. Yeah, I have so many cameras, bro.
Just like his Schwab account, the kid is temporarily disappeared.
Oh, my God. She probably put him in my room, in our room.
You want to call real quick and just ask her?
No, I don't want to call. We're good. I know for sure because he's not on any cameras. That's the only room that doesn't have cameras like that. So that's where he is.
Okay. So let's start off with one of these super chats, and then we'll get into all the requests of VSAT. I don't know if you've ever done this one before.
Yeah, I have. So this one is this space?
I don't know what this. I feel like I should know what it is. This is
dude. What are you doing?
No, satellite broadband service. Yeah, it's kind of space, I guess.
Space. Even I knew it was space, dude. That doesn't say much though. 6.8 billion. So not going to be affected by the broader indices because it has nothing to do with S&P or even close to that. So this one, I'm just going to do this typical retracer. Boom. Okay, so what I have right now, I have 52.18 as a bearish retracement. So this is it's a bounce into resistance at 52.12, literally to the penny. Holy shmoly. Now, the way this works is if you get through, then we would have a tradable area into 62. I can match that up right here with this, what we call fair. You've heard me, like there's a breach in supply, 65 from November 2021. That triggers if I have a couple days opening and closing over 52. Right now, I'm not. It is literally at resistance. So that's not going to trigger an additional upside yet until you're over 52. Like I'm trying to use this terminology, opening and closing. Otherwise, pullbacks, typical pullbacks, support is at 29. So trade complete for now. If you got in around that, can it pull back? Yes, but it doesn't have to at all. If it's over 52, you got more gas in the tank. Next. Got it.
Circle.
Oh, I thought we said next. All right.
Oh,
Circle.
sorry. I thought you were asking me next, but you could do next too.
I was asking you. No, I'm joking. Circle is like, I was on a space today. Spaces is like the Twitter trading spaces. Dude, I mean, just technically speaking, I'll just stay in my box. I heard that there is a thesis on why Circle is going to do well is because of like AI agents doing microtransactions.
Yes.
I thought that was the most insane load of crap I've ever heard in my life.
That's the reason Visa's dead, bro. That's the reason.
Never in the history of history has a crypto solution solved a real world problem. And I don't think it ever will. That's how I tell in like the cryptoverse where like that's how you know when you're in a Ponzi is like you have a crypto solution trying to solve a physical world problem. It's not how it works. It won't be Circle that benefits. That might happen, but that's like saying we don't have to have credit cards inputted for transactions to do, and also saying, by the way, if for microtransactions, you're going to be using crypto and not dollars. This is not happening. In no world is that ever happening. But anyways, I digress. So we have a big breakdown on like a policy expectation shift. And it happens to be losing 120, which we know is like a death blow. Hey, when stocks cross 70, that's what it taught me one day. Said if they go over 75, they're going to 120. They lose 120, they're probably going to 70. It's below the 20-day simple. This is the prior breakdown level right here at 107. It actually rejected pretty clean today, right off the 20, which is this white line. Sorry, I took too long to rant earlier, but downside here, near term is like 92 down to 80s. And that is actually a typical pullback. That's where I'm at on this. Circle is a treasury company, guys. Let's not get it twisted. They're not going to solve real world problems. Sorry, that's my rant. I love you all and good night. But yeah, they'll earn 4% on their USDC backed holdings as a treasury yield. I think you could, from a business perspective, I have a really hard time justifying this being a publicly traded entity. But anyways.
IREN.
Oh, and there that issue hit Coinbase, which is why Coinbase is down, because they were supposed to be able to take part of that profit and give it to Coinbase. Now they're not, supposedly. From DeFi profit, sorry. IREN needs to get over 45. It's not there. If I try to front run IREN, it's not going to be good. So 45 is actually like, it's a pretty important level. This is not the right chart. And if it does get through that level, then it is to like 50s. But low 50s, like 55 to fill in this little fair value. It's not there. If you take this early, you're just straight front running. And that's how you get in trouble. So you don't want to front run 44, 45, just over this little area right here. Then you can get an upside target. Otherwise, the support on IREN is 30, just over 30. Like whatever happened over here, that's $30. Nebius. I mean, sell them calls, boys and girls. I don't know. Juicy, bro. Juicy premiums. It's holding 113. I think Nebius doesn't have to go anywhere. The way that this happened in the past was like, it's just going nowhere. And then boom, headline. That's how it's going to work. I think for the foreseeable future, like that's probably how it's going to work. And you kind of need to know that until they get the next headline, it might, stutter step. 108 was resistance. Best case scenario, that generalized area becomes support. What I'll say here is if I do this is a measurement from that 52-week high 141 to this 67. If it loses 113, I actually think it's more like 104 that it comes down to, but it doesn't have to come down. It could hold 113 for a while, but if it does, I feel like on the chart, this area, teeny tiny little block, is where it could hang out for a very long time. So if you were last week, I said selling 120 calls up in this area. I literally said that last week. Yeah, you were probably down for a day or two, but you're probably sitting prettier today. And if this hangs out around this price, then you're going to be sitting even prettier.
CoreWeave.
I have not looked at this. How are we feeling about CoreWeave?
This was up today. It was good.
I mean, the lows have held.
Yeah.
But it's not there yet. I think you can still wait. Sit and wait. If you like it, you can sell some $70 puts, but this thing trades like, what is the daily range on this bad boy? It's got to be huge. Yeah, a fake out bounce. When we talked about it 2 weeks ago, here, I think it was trading over one of these two. I was like, I don't think it's going to break. And we have up to $90 as upside, up to 95 2 weeks ago in the playlist. Grab it. It's going to be there. You're essentially there. This is where I had it to 95, about 31% from the lows. You can hold on for a little bit longer, but you have less upside near term from that trade perspective than you have downside at this point, because you're up pretty good off the lows. I would just if it's a trade, you're up 20% from when we talked about it last. I think you could just put a stop around $80, just probably 77. And if you get stopped out, you get stopped out. But other than that, if you get up to 95, I think you bring your stop up to 85 and you just start trailing. That's what we call trailing. Like I would start trailing my winner here, because this is near term. Best case scenario, the channel that this starts to kind of traverse, ideally, but you got that 50-day, it's heavy resistance. So like that is what this would look like, which means it'll take some time to get there. And maybe you get this rounded bottom, but you are very much at risk of this still. So cautious.
This one, so those are the neoclouds. This one's interesting because a lot of people have been thinking about this over the past couple of days. Given the SpaceX IPO, Rocket Lab, I mean, big move today. Do you touch it here, or is this just?
We talked about this. I think this was on. It was either my show or your show, one of the two. Post $1 billion raise, by the way, if it was holding that $70 or $68.50, it's the same. It's the same thing. Like this 66.5 was the spot. I don't know. I can't go so as far as to say like, can Rocket Lab become like a VCX ticker? I mean, they're bulled up on the SpaceX shenanigans also, and it's still like that catalyst. This is super reminiscent here of these situations, right? Like how many times have we seen this in the past? Rocket Lab, exact same setup at 40, right? Exact same setup at 17, which by the way, we freaking charted that together and I missed it. At very upset about that still to this day, but that's okay. We're having the beginnings of that, but don't expect this. But I would be very cautious about expecting this to break out all of a sudden out of nowhere. I mean, could you hope for it? For sure, you can hope for it. If this holds, the trajectory is up to 85, but that's where resistance is. So a bearish rejection is up in this area. So that means that here, this, as long as it's holding, it could do this like that. But if it doesn't hold 85s, then you're back in to the box like that, which, you know, depending on your time horizon, I think this is potential upside. Downside remains like big support in the 60s, low, like literally 60. And you just don't want to see it below that, which it hasn't really done that yet. So I don't think
the same with ASTS. You think the same happens there?
I don't know. Let's see. Yes. ASTS had 76s. It's doing the same thing. Upside is 110. That's the bearish rejection up here. So over time, and I don't mean right now, not without a catalyst, you know, it could get into 110, but I don't think I would get worried unless this does something like this. Like if it got up to 110 and then came down and then hit 105 like that, that's when I would be like, okay, take measures, because we could possibly be coming down to 70s again. But right now, if you're going to trade what's in front of you is potentially higher first. But 110, if you don't like it and you wanted to short it, I would say don't short this until you're like over 110, like maybe like 115.
Can we quickly do VG? But I agree with Matt in the chat, which is VG it's based on the war headlines. It's not really.
It isn't
oil.
It's getting the catalyst. Matty's just trying to be humble here because like this is his bag and he doesn't want me to pump his bags because every time.
No, but seriously, if we get a ceasefire tomorrow, the war's over. I don't think VG's exploding like it has the past couple weeks.
So like,
So if you're longing it now, you have to express to the market you think the war will continue, basically.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would you buy it right here?
No, if you still believe in the data center build out, the generational data center build out.
Yeah, that's not why VG's up 100%.
VG has its stuff. I think you have to look at market cap. You need to have like, could it be the next Cheniere? Oh, it's not that far away at this point.
No, but even if it could, that is such a long term. No one here cares about the long term. They're literally just thinking, could it get to 25? And I'm like, well,
really?
Can the war continue? Yeah,
well,
I mean, how many people are buying VG at 17?
Cheniere has a $60 billion market cap. 60. VG today has a $41 billion market cap. So like,
wait, it does? It's at 40. This shit's at 41 billion. Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be interested in buying it. Dude, I thought it was like 20 or something.
I'm gonna pause my timer since he's taking.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm taking too much time for you.
But no,
the reason I'm asking is because a lot of people want to go long after it's pumped 150%, and now I think it is a proxy on the war more than anything.
It's fuel on a fire that was already there for sure. And that's what happens. The market overshoots in both directions, right? Like this is very close to full. We had this lined up. I missed this reload here at 9. When things play out this fast, it's sketchy, right? Like it feels sketchy when things play out this fast. Like you have a thesis down here. Even Chris is gonna have to be like, yo, this is beyond my, or this is when your thesis comes true.
Chris said to take profits yesterday. Yeah.
There you go. So like when your thesis all of a sudden comes true, it's like, okay, I need to graduate. Like the position needs to graduate from positioning to what's not priced in to accepting what is currently priced in and reevaluate, right? When your thesis is full and you're close, you're nearly there. Look, am I saying cells? No. Apparently Chris did. I can't believe he said cells. So if can it hit 25?
Sell calls, right?
I told my group to sell calls on this as well.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
I told 2027 $25 calls. Yeah, and or was it 2028? It was probably 2028. You sell a $5. It was a $25 call. You sell a $25 upside call for 2028. You collect $5. Like, first of all, that is my exit. If you're thinking it's going to get to 25, and it also protects you $5 downside, which is your near-term downside if you get the war headline. So I think that's the play. That's my 2 cents.
I think if the Iran war comes to an end, I think this next Chevron, they all take a pretty nasty dip, which is why I'm scared to buy more here.
No, you own this, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm scared to buy more. I bought one at 6 or 690. I'm scared
to buy more.
That's
the bad. You don't want to buy more, right? But selling a $25 call, collecting almost $6 to do that, dude, that gets you to your target and it protects you.
Yeah, it's not fair. That's not fair.
It's not fair.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's perfectly fair.
It is.
Well, why is it not fair? Yeah. So like upside 1770. This is. I'll just cap this off. A very. We call this a fair value gap. So this is the inefficiency in the market structure. This is kind of like a magnet point once you're over 1480. So what I will say here is that this is getting a magnet pull into 1770. If this is like fully trading over that level, cool. You can actually think that 25 might happen. It's probably going to be, it will likely be an overshoot. It'll be worth more than Cheniere at that point in time. And you probably should sell. And your whole full thesis is correct. In the near term, if you lose 1435, the pullback was 1270 when we were in this. We actually got it for like a hot second. in the aftermarket hours. That's all you're gonna really get here. In the near term, if this loses 1435, you're very likely going to see 1270. You do not want to let this go below 1270. At 1270s, it's coming back down, and it'll probably be a little bit deeper. So, but I like the plan. If you don't want to sell it, I don't think you have to sell it, but there's ways to protect it and keep and retain the upside. Like I think that's a good setup. All right, next.
ONDS.
Oh, I thought we went next.
Oh, we should do next because we're on.
I keep saying next. So like
Yeah.
Maddie in the chat? Maddie and the milkman and I were all on this stream together on Steve's channel the other day. And I think I don't know if you could find it or not, but I kind of I had the bull case on this sector anyways. But I think this is a perfect example of like, when we went through it, I was very clear, like $5 is support, but I didn't care that $5 was support. Like when you guys are looking for the reversals, and if you're looking moving forward for things to actually be ready to roll, what I liked about this was this whole like rounding issue. And it's not that it was at support. I don't give a crap if something's at support. What I want to see, and what's most important, it's not support. It's like where that breakout level will be. Because something can be at support 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all this stuff. It can be at support for months, right? Like all December, January, February, March. It doesn't matter. When something gets acceleration to the upside is when it's coming out of that support area. And so like moving over here, October 2025. Oops, wrong tool. This was resistance up in here. And this was support. So this whole area is that area that I'm looking for. It's a wide area, 560 to 5. It's a big box, right? But what I liked about it is that literally the day that we were looking at it was this day. And I was like, nope, it's ready to roll right here, right now. And that's how you know it's like when you're doing this and you're looking at this like this on a daily chart. This is very different than being at support. And so for me, people make, joke of like, oh, if you knew how to pick the bottoms, you'd be a good trillionaire, whatever. Like, no, I'm not. It's not my job. It's not what I do. What we do as traders is find this moment in time to be like, yes, right here, right now, it's already hit support. Buyers have stepped in. It's looking really good. And at the same time, I had a much higher time frame. Exactly same setup, kind of mirroring that whole kind of like bullish to bearish or bearish to bullish reversal. And that is the result right here. So that's what I'm looking at. So when I say things are getting support, I'm not going to auto buy, but I am going to look for this type of participation, this type of reaction above support. So not at support, above support. And I'll miss the lows and not worry about it. So anyways, that's where we are next. It's up in that next level of resistance. TBD on this one. I think Maddie's in it for a long time. Maddie's probably held it forever.
Are you still on this one? Or no?
The second I saw this setup, I was like, I could not think of this was almost like a hoodie moment. It's like, I cannot think of a better setup. And because there's 3 things you have to look at. Fundamental analysis. Thankfully I had Steve and Matt on to do that, to help me walk through that. Sentiment analysis, right? We know where at the time where nat gas is, and I still like the data center build up. I am one of those firm believers that I'm way over time that nat gas is going to probably be the real energy source for a lot of this data center build up, not necessarily nuclear for a while. And technical setup. I could do the technicals all along, but I had the fundamentals and we had the sentiment. I got check 1, check 2, check 3, pass. One of the like most bullish setups I'd see in a long time. It was just a go. So that's and I couldn't think of a better one in the market at the moment. So to me, this was at least going into the 8s at this point in time. And we've since done that. I think right now, to your point, yeah, it could be a little bit maybe stretched. 660, I told my group, was the pullback. And look at this, 660 tagged. When I see support, like retest of support here, 660s, get hit so fast and bought up so quickly. I'm like, really? Like, really? Okay. But here I think you have to, maybe pull it back to $2 billion market cap, 840 near term. And then if you get a squeeze, it's into the 950s and then some. But 660 is the next higher level of support. I'd like to see initial trade is complete for the most part. Can it continue? Yes. I'm just managing. But if this 660 was prior support and resistance here, I want to see this area become support again, which it is. And when it's coming out, doing the same thing one more time, super slow. If I see it get bought up, right? I don't have to jump in like that. But once it's doing this at that point, then yeah. All right. It's going up probably into the 950s, but we're not there yet. All right. Now we can move on.
ONDS.
I took way too long on that, guys. I apologize. I'm going to blame Matt. 100% blaming Matt money. Okay. ONDS. Not why. Dude, I think this is going to squeeze soon. But
I kind of think it might squeeze too as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
They had a good earnings, but I don't know.
Down. Were you thinking up?
No, it was kind of flat on earnings. I mean,
So,
I think it's going to go up? I think, well, it hit 14 at one point this year, right? So
squeeze just means that, like, when you have a squeeze coming, you actually don't know really like what direction it's going to happen in. You just know like a violent move will likely ensue sooner than later. Because this range is pulling in NVIDIA where this daily range is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Right in here, I have an oscillator here that's going to tell me like generally where it could go. Quite frankly, it could go either way. So I legit do not know which direction. Where everything else looks like it's primed for selling option premium, this one looks more like buying a straddle, which is like buying an at the money call and at the money put with a lot of time, because I think a move is going to happen. But it's too early to tell what direction. If it's below 10, it's to the downside. But it's not below 10 right now. So it could go either way. Upside is to 15s where it basically just came from.
GEV.
I mean,
all-time highs.
Yeah. What do you want to know? Is it different than last time? No.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, this is like, it's not a small position. It's like the more expensive it gets, the bigger. I got this fucking, oh my God, stupid stock for free. And when I got the split, so I bought GE, a bunch of GE before the split of GE Healthcare and GE Vernova. And I immediately sold all my GE Healthcare and then trimmed GE and bought more GEV because this is the one that I really wanted. But yeah, we're in it now. It's I am not even thinking about selling this, my dude. I don't know what to tell you. This is like, if you see crazy pullbacks, it might look wild for a while. 770 was the last one around the 50-day. That might be closer to 8.25 right now. But yeah, I'm not. I'm not thinking about selling this stock. It's the right area for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's got the sentiment. I don't know if it's overvalued anymore. I have 975 for the next press, and then between 830 and 775 for a dip. Okay. You're gonna have earnings coming soon, but that's what I have. Not gonna break out tomorrow. Happy. Dude, they just absolutely destroyed the Celsius.
Costco screwed them.
Dude, I'm about to be a bag holder. And I'm like, really, dude? Really? because I missed the exit. You didn't, I text you. I feel like I can, expectations is getting me in trouble. So just in general. Dude.
I mean, I think it's stupid. I unless Costco creates a drink that's as good as Celsius for half the price, then I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
I've never liked how Celsius tasted anyway, but you do. So
I mean, no, I don't really. Like, I'll drink it. It's losing the level.
it's losing. It's important.
I mean,
you know,
37 or something. I think that is my cost basis. Like, I literally bought it at 37 and I was like, oh, I'm not going to look at it, which is fine. I literally bought it at 37, like right here. I bought it. And so now I didn't buy it for short term. Now I'm red, not a lot red, but yeah, I mean, if this comes down, I think you could revisit the lows. Do these lows breach? I don't think so. I don't know. We don't know yet. It's $9 billion market cap. And I don't follow it that much. So it's not that big of a position, but yeah, I'm probably going to be a bag holder, but I'm not going to add either unless I see like the absolute lows. And I don't want to panic sell. Because that would just be kind of dumb. Yeah.
Tesla.
I missed my exit. Tesla, dude. Was a bad rejection today, but it's not over. So I had 395 after this breakdown. So we all know, right? 415 is the number. 415, 2021 highs. See, this should be a core ticker. We broke down here, prime for selling calls, sold my leaps, actually actively hedged downside as well. This is not us, but this is accurate. So I don't think this is us. I had probably in my group 356 as that is a 50% retracement. Typical, right? I'm glad I wrote typical on this box. 356.04 is a typical retracement, and it retests the top of this zone. That level hit, so my initial downside target acquired same day. The problem I have with Tessie now is I don't have the 200-day SMA on here. Is that today's bounce is not a bounce to get excited about yet. We have like potential acceleration to the downside. We'll see. But over here is that prior, like it's 380. If Tesla is trending, again, multiple opens and closes below 380, it's coming back into 356 and it's probably going to breach 356 and it's probably going to get to 320s. 320s to me, that is the equivalent, not to me, 320s is the equivalent of Hood at 70. It is the equivalent of SOFI at 17 and Meta at 595. We're not even close to that. So what we did is we hit the first target. And so if this is going to have a chance to come back, it's got to get over like this. And ultimately over 415, which 415 is the max that is definitively resistance now. I do think this comes down, but I don't think this comes down in short order, like fast or anything. It's probably like a slow grind. So again, to me, prime for selling upside calls. If you have like this really bullish morning, we're starting to see that a lot. Like where Tesla in the morning, you get what we call like a wick. You can't even see that on the screen, but like this morning in the pre-market, the high is 416 and it opens below that up here, big morning, and it looks like same thing today. It's like you have a decent looking upside and then 395 is the lower high right at the 200 and the 20-day resistance level. Not the greatest. So we'll have to see. This probably sees 380, but if it can hold 380, it might go sideways for a little while because again, the initial downside target hits. So trade complete for there. Now the question is, I think you could here is take a potential secondary protective bet on this if this doesn't get back over. If this doesn't hold 380. I reshorted Tesla today at 395. That's all I'll say there. After closing here.
Salesforce.
CRM. Dude, what are they doing to this thing?
Every software name continues to be in a bear market, including Microsoft, and I don't get it anymore.
IGV,
Really,
I posted IGV today. The index was like, nope, you're gonna
no,
lose.
dude, it feels like there's structural selling from funds that have owned these software names for the past decade, and they're just out. They just don't believe it anymore. That's what it's not retail. Retail can't move these down 40%.
If somebody sings the Elsa song, you know, let it go. Can you? You're a good singer. Not the greatest singer.
What's Let It Go? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the song, let it go. Elsa.
What song? Who's Elsa?
Frozen. You're just whatever, dude.
Okay, I know what Frozen is.
Let it go.
I actually have never watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
You guys know Amit was a singer in his past life, right?
I tried to be a singer in my past life.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, the people want to hear it. So let it go. Let it go. Don't step in front is my. So again, to me, that's just me. Unless you love it, long time, that's fine. But back of the lows, it's a hard look. What you want to see is just like that VG, right? So like we know that this is support right here, very near term 179. We know that. I don't want to just because like what I want to see good structures. I want to see this holding like that. And as it's coming up out of, I want to see like a big rounding kind of bottom. Like, do I need to step in here? I don't do that. It's not how you trade. So we're not stepping in here. And if you did, you'd have to get out really fast because it's too close to overhead resistance. So yeah, is it possible? Yeah, but I mean, a bounce is to like 190, which is your resistance, 195. Otherwise, yeah, 150.
This one's
Look at all
off
these
today.
lines.
I
I mean,
a
they
little
revised.
speculative, but
Dude, the market is like that right now. The market's like, oh, what's the next this, that, or the other?
exactly, yeah.
Because they're tired. It's like they're tired of getting chopped around. This is a massive consolidation. Like ARM, I feel like if I was in ARM, I would be taking profits also. Like, oh yeah, like this is like, or not taking profits, but like, okay, I'll let it ride and see where it goes. But you're at resistance. So here, that's overhead resistance. Literally, I just pulled what we call an order block. So where the last big breakdown was, that's 165. I mean, that's literally where it closed today. I'm sorry. That was yesterday's pre-market high. So this, you can watch this. This could be a great trader to short because of how fast it came back. You have a lot of downside support in the ones like 140s is where it's gonna want to magnet to. It's just a little extended, but if it's over 170, yeah, just let it be because she's going up higher. And that would be what we would say like yeah, 147 is going to be your support, and if it's over 170, I mean the bulls are going to come out and be like, oh, 250. Which I can see it on the chart, but not yet.
Amazon.
Heavy resistance level right here, right now. 211. Support where we bought it. Little bounce up through. We've charted this a couple times. And you get the break up through, bounce in here. I think the problem here is I have Amazon. It could squeeze up to 215, but technically, this whole little box here could be another like consolidation. I don't like Amazon. I like Amazon, but it's not ready yet. I feel like it needs to test the lows of the support, and still a breach. 188 is like a pit stop.
What's your backup the truck price on Amazon here? Like 140 -ish?
150 is the equivalent of all the rest of the pullbacks. So 150 is the primary support. Is it a backup the truck? It's pretty good. It's really good. 170 is nice. 188 is also okay. Like, so my concern would be like, all right, well, we get to 188 and then you do this and then you chop for a while and then you reach it again and you do this and then you chop and then you do this and then you get finally like a whoosh like that. That's very typical price action, but also the setup that we're getting. I mean, it could be somewhat resilient. We already got our death cross. The problem is that this is a slow one, so I don't know if we're going to get an actual press higher. It's going to come in a question like CapEx and things like that. I like Amazon. Definitely no leaps. That's for sure. But equity, how about it?
Netflix.
Dude, I feel like Netflix is going to be like the safety stock. Does that make sense? It's very possible.
That's always how it's been to an extent, right?
Yeah.
Like people
So
won't cancel.
near-term press. Yeah, near-term press. I can't believe I got this. And I think this is about I think 90 was a 50%. Oh, 87 is going to line up with the 20-day. That's going to be your kind of bullish pullback. 87 to 85. I'm not going to sell this, but if you like it, I think now this has the prolonged story. So now you have to decide, how come this didn't play? Damn it. Now you have to decide, do I want to take the ride? Because the big pop of taking off the Warner Brother deal came out of the stock. A huge move near term. I think now you decide, do I want to ride the train like long term? And if you do, cool. And they'll probably pick it up under 90, as close to 85 as possible. But if you got that, I think you're okay too. Can it go lower? It can. And upside near term is still 105.
Oscar. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. So help me understand what's going on with the ACA stuff.
I mean, it's the same shit. We're not extending the subsidies yet.
Then no. Like buy it if you like it. Same spot. Boom. 12 bucks.
Yeah, agreed. You're getting a discount from the past 3 months.
Well, you're at least not paying a premium. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get this one out of the way. Bitcoin.
She's stuck. Biddy. But I have multiples here. What's going on? This. Why do I have multiples? I hate when that happens. This was anchored wrong. So 69 all-time high, prior all-time high.
By the way, Wall Street Journal, at least 3 congressional Republicans, including chairs of the House and Senate Armed Service Committee, are strongly hinting that a ground operation in Iran is planned and could be potentially underway soon. As shit happens, VG is going to 25. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah. I had 59 from this consolidation here. And I have 54 as a downside. So Diddy does not look horrible. It's trying. So it's like it's doing the thing where consolidating. This is constructive, but I think it needs a little bit more time. And before it can do that. If it's like really holding over 73s, like, yeah, I think that can really happen, but it's not ready yet. It's still doing the consolidation. My biggest concern is like, why did this not break out? That's a bigger issue, I suppose. And we didn't even get close to that pullback. I think it's still basing. So a breakdown is to 54 is what it is. But you don't want to see this under 54. I mean, you can if you care, but a breakdown, like a quick wick down, is 54. If we go into bear market territory, it's in the 30s, whatever it was. It's probably 28. Otherwise, it's going to try, and it can move through this range pretty fast. 70 from 71 to 93. That's going to be tradable. Just have this little blip pocket at 80, but I think it would get through that if it was actually running in. So I think Bitcoin's constructive, dude, for at least a counter trend bounce again, or a grind. If it grinds into 80 and change, mid 80s, I'm not going to be super constructive. I'd rather see something like this: whoosh, pull back, hold, whoosh, and go again. But a grind into the 80s is going to be probably too slow like this. We're probably going to do that and then try again, and then I would be concerned.
Okay. ELF
ELF
has been destroyed past few. The tariff thing didn't even help it, which was the worst part.
I thought you were talking about Nike for a second.
No, but both Nike, ELF, all the retailers.
Dude, he's so bad, bro. He's so bad.
Like that was the thesis on the retail. Like the tariffs are reversed, and boom, they go. It's like nope. That's
yeah. I mean, what do you? So this thing. I mean, I have upside targets here to like 132 up to 150. It got it. It lost the 135. Then it lost 120, which we know what happens at one. Actually, it did it overnight. 115. It went just to next day to 70. Very interesting. But I think it should. I mean, I don't want to say it should. Like it could base around here, but you need a catalyst. No, I don't like this. This real. Oh shoot. It's not looking too hot. I don't like it when I have to go back to inception on things. No, dude, you don't want to touch this right now.
Yeah,
it's not.
It looks ugly, dude. From every angle.
Yeah, this looks like it get a lot worse. No. I mean, unless you know something about the company, maybe you get a bounce, but it's not a reversal. You're not even close to thinking about a reversal on this. You're closer to thinking about acceleration downside. This does not look good.
SATA.
I didn't expect to see that chart look like that. I'm just reading. I don't have an opinion on that one way or the other.
By the way, guys, you can follow Jason right there on X. I'm linking that in the chat, so please make sure to follow him there as well.
1566 is like, that's generally where I would expect that pullback to get to. If I'd done this right, let me just check. Yeah, if this is going to be a bullish pullback, it's 1612 to like where this green is on my chart. 1612 to 1566, which is actually what it opened at this morning.
I mean, this is getting taken down with the rest of the software. To me, this is.
Yeah, I mean, IGV looks like it's going to fall out of bed. So
and that hurts Counter and Microsoft too, you know,
and Google, and Meta.
Yeah.
So like 1566 is the bottom of a bullish retracement. If it loses that, your support is it's below 13 is your support.
Grab.
Grab. How did you do today? Son of a biscuit.
I feel like it's got to get above 450 for us to at all get excited.
450.
I know it's a lot to ask from here, but
Yeah.
I don't trust anything in the 380s or 390s. Not right now.
No. So this. Well, if I told you that a bearish bounce actually takes it to 5. Dude.
Everyone's
5
going to get the hell out at 5.
5 is overhead resistance, big time. Big time. Yeah. So we had that look above and fail. Now we're pulling back. The consolidation lows is literally this right here. So it's not like this is the low support. This is it. Bad looks like this. Breach like that. And that is 339. That's bad. Just so you know, so people like that's bad. Good looks like this. So I would say 4. 4 looks like that. Probably into the 5s. And then you get a little pullback, maybe aggressive pullback, and then structure holds. So this is the pathing. Either way, if this just full blown, so what I'm doing, I'm 350, 336 comes from this, whatever this is. Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, low right there. That's like the low end breach of the box. And it's heavy support over here. But if it's breaking down below that, that's what that would look like. Right now, you're at the bottom of support. So you usually want to buy at support.
Got the Bloomberg headline, U.S. is ramping up troop deployments to the Middle East, raising fears that tensions with Iran could escalate into a full-scale ground conflict despite ongoing dip. This is, if this shit becomes real, this is now Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal. I think
I don't have
Jason,
futures license, damn it.
I think your 5850 is, I mean, it depends on how serious it, but like, this is similar to what we heard yesterday where, I forgot who said it in the White House, but they were like, well, we're getting troops. Oh, I think Mike Johnson said it. We're getting troops in case the diplomacy doesn't work. And if the diplomacy doesn't work, we're going to bomb the shit out of them and we're going to have our troops on the ground. So he's like, we have the best of both worlds. If they want to talk, we can talk. If they don't want to talk, then we have troops ready to go.
Yeah.
Which is not the best situation for the market.
That's kind of where I am. So near term, between now and the next time I see you, where we talk, just so I don't know if it's good or not, but like the downside, first of all, I think we're going to get NFP. No, we're not going to get NFP right now. The downside is like 620s within an average week's range. And let me take all these lines off. 620 is going to come back to this area right here, this low end of this support. I don't know if you remember breaking through this area, but that is the next general level. If we lose that, if we lose support right now, that's over here.
It'll just be ugly, dude.
Look, dude, I mean, long term, we're going to be fine, but we were due for a little bit of a pullback. I would welcome it. Honestly, if I'm an investor, I do welcome it as an investor. Like, I'm just like raising cash. I'm going to get excited real soon.
But yeah, we all got to buy it if it happens. Like,
Yeah,
you have to buy it.
You have to be ready, my dude.
You got to know where you were the day they put troops on the ground so you could buy the dip. But
yeah, buy the dip. It's 565 dip. But Liberation Day support, imagine. But also, dude, that is super typical. Like typical, and in the grand scheme of things, you're not even gonna notice it. Like, like Liberation Day, whatever, like it just looks like a blip on the radar now. You remember how out of control this felt? Like when this is happening, Liberation Day, when we draw like all of this, we're dropping.
It looks like a blip.
11.
It looks like a blip years later, like in the.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I get it, but it's still gonna hurt, bro. Everyone's still gonna feel the pain of it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's 20% or more than 20%. Like, by the way, you know, it's like it's going to look like a blip on the radar long term. That's also 20% from 52-week highs. When they say, "Oh, we're now in a bear market," bye.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
we're not there yet.
we have 20 minutes left, 25. So we're gonna run through as many tickers as possible.
They're
Just
like, this
try
one
to-
is different. I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll probably do a minute per ticker. We'll try to get through as many, and then
Do we
gotta
even
head out
get
at
a
6.
minute? Okay.
Yeah, let's do one minute. Light, photonics, Lumentum.
Okay, you're gonna have to do. I don't even have a minute. Photonics. This is S&P, right?
Yeah.
So careful. Look above potential. You need this to hold over 785. Otherwise, you have potential pullback in there. It's okay. Upside is 910. Market is not super bullish, so like looking for upside is actually not advised. Generally speaking, it's more about looking for support. Support 650. Okay, next.
App 11.
Mm, 388s. It did not get over 471. So I have this same exercise. I mean, this is what we call a setup in technical analysis from a swing trading perspective. Super. I mean, you can tell how reliable it is. But anyways, unless it's over 470, it's not going higher right now. And if it does, it's 550 upside resistance. Near term, you probably see 385. Again, if the market's coming down, I expect support to crack. I do not expect support to hold. If the market's coming down, I expect support to break. So that's kind of where I'm at. Unlike a super bull market, I expect resistance to break. Different now.
Hims.
Hims. Well,
This thing is still shorted heavy.
yeah, I mean, looks like it came down. You got back to the 28, which was that prior breakdown level, hit the resistance as expected. Now you've pulled back 50% from this low to the high. Also TDD went straight to the dumpster. I don't even know if that's new lows. 19 just under 19.
Okay. GLW, Corning.
Dude, so cautious. We watched this chart like a hawk, let me tell you. So there's a little session gap at 160. If this cannot, so this has an inefficiency in the market, literal, like 159 spot 45 to the penny. Watch that. If it can't break through, it's got to go pause again. This looks good on the surface, but and I think maybe it can get through there. If this pulls back, holds 136, it's probably going to 136 like this to this. That is this support area here. General support, 133. You're on your way right now. So little dips are fine, but I don't want to, that gap can happen, but how it gets there, depending on if you're equity, I think you're fine. It could spend a while filling this in and eventually doing that. And I'd like to see another boom, long-term basing setup. I don't want to see this rocket ship to the upside. I just don't. But screenshot this. Here's my chart. Support, target, pretty much like clearly outlined. I like GLW for a lot of reasons, but I don't think it is not in breakout mode. It is in create the next range to trade in before I break out mode, which is not there. Cool. Next.
A-Lab.
Oh, I'm scared to look. Why are you doing things like that? It's just so dirty. It's it. This is it. This is it. I gotta wait to see buyers show up. Again, if we're having a hard time, then I expect support to fail. Yeah, this is 120. It's $120 a minute. What's happening right now? I need to see this get over 130 with the quickness. Otherwise, we are in trouble.
Arista, all of them have been in a weird spot.
We need to see that go higher immediately. Again, I'm not looking to shop right now. Speaking of, I'll just go over there. Arista is not horrible. We're not even close to a pullback on Arista. This is nothing burger. Nothing. Is it at risk? Probably. Arista doesn't even have nearly the beta that Astera has, but yeah, it's gonna consolidate. This is just okay. I'd be really concerned. I'd be more protective around 150. We got these prior spikes up here, but this one probably not bad. I like it.
Bloom Energy.
Let's take a look. I had some people in my streams looking short, some people long. It's a bit of a tougher one right now. You have a bit of so the opposite of rounding bottom, like if I inverse this, if that was what I'd be looking for, if what I would think this would look like as a breakout, I inverse this chart. It's upside down right now. Is 126. So what I'll say is the truth is that this is not going down unless it's below 126. And so for now, that it could wick down there. That's going to be your general support. If you lose 126, then okay, cool. Is it 126 or is it? Then your next spot to potentially pick it up is like 110s. But you're kind of just chilling here. I think this can bounce, but unless this starts breaking out, which it hasn't, it's consolidation mode. It's a little bit more at risk than not. Below the 50, below the 20, SMA is getting pretty tight, but the 200 is still in a pretty solid uptrend. So a dip, even if it's heavy, should be generally viable for something like that, assuming fundamentals are not crooked. Next.
BMNR.
Why are we even looking at this anymore?
I don't know, but people care, so spend 30 seconds on it. But it's ETH. That's it. That's all that matters. And ETH is stuck like Bitcoin.
Yeah, downside's 15 or lower. I mean, at this point, it's not ready. It's not ready. Like, I have this little piercing line. So like what I want to see is like the same kind of thing all the way up to 25. So you got a long time to wait on this. So have at your short calls 25s.
Figma.
I really do think that 2026, dude, 2025 is it was the year that you came into and every thesis that you could possibly have went right? Like everything that you thought ended up being true. All your plans, all your ideas worked out. So far, the crappy truth of it is 2026 is gearing up to be the year that all of it doesn't happen. Look, everything goes wrong.
And every thesis you had in 2025 reverses.
Yeah. I'm like, really? It's
the humility of the markets, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is not good. This is not looking good. So yeah, here's that stat, right? Even on a very small time frame, when you lost 24, you're very likely giving it all back and then some, or just giving it all back. Here you are at literally what that looks like. And this moment, 24.30 is when that happened. So this looks like acceleration downside, which would be if you lose 20, it is 7. It's 7.
Okay.
If you lose it with 1350 first stop.
FICO.
Dude, I'm scared to look at this. What are we doing here? I don't. What are you doing to me, dude? Why are you making me sound so bearish? Like,
Every chart looks horrible. I
It's
feel.
not my fault.
No, I know it's not.
Dude, you want to talk like stocks that could potentially literally not make it? I mean, Jensen's answer to your question kind of like bugged me out because like what he
Dude,
didn't
his
say.
answer is, I mean, I liked his answer, but yeah, there's an elephant in the room that everyone is ignoring every time.
Well, the elephant in the room, per his answer, was that it's not necessarily going to be the companies that are currently public that make it.
Yeah.
Like inherently, that's it will create more jobs, but the new jobs, it's going to create an entirely new sector.
Yeah.
I mean, 900s is the next stop. I think it's on a predetermined outcome here. But again, does that mean that that's going to be the lows? Will it reverse? We're not seeing V recoveries here. You have a breakdown 13. I do have 750 as a real stop, and if shenanigans go down 580s, I don't know. If
CCJ.
Chemical.
Uranium. Yeah.
Uranium. I mean, not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, almost back already. Look at that.
We know where the kid is, right? We're good.
I don't know where. I just stop it. We know where the kid is. Dude, this is hot, right? The problem I have with uranium, you know, we're going to Iran to get some uranium, and like if we succeed, what are they going to do? They're gonna put the uranium back into the supply. I think uranium has a story, but it's not for like a decade. And then what happens? Like what's going to happen there? And these are pretty expensive. I think these are really expensive. But the storyline is there.
I mean, yeah, this has made a move, and now it's scary to buy.
It's like the sentiment is fine. So here's the little 109. So you have the break here, break. This is a good retest. What you want to see is that when you start coming back below 109, you get to be more in that fake out look, 110. So I think you can kind of see it here. We're like in that situation, you have a breakout, and this, what you would want to see this acting right as is like a little bit of a rounding bottom. Right now, this is like potentially a breach below, but that's very possible. Still, but you have to get well above here. So right now it's more like a watch. I feel like this reminds me of FCX. Can I look at FCX really quick?
Yeah.
And do the clock. Oh, okay. So I mean, do we go back in the copper trade?
I got out. I made 10%, and I am scared to even think of getting back in.
Why?
Because I feel like commodities have become a speculative jungle. There's no thesis there. I mean, there's a thesis, but the thesis is hypercharged by all this stupid money going into them, thinking they're just going to go to the moon. It's not. Like, yes, everyone knows we need it. Copper's not even contrarian anymore. Everyone knows we need it. Like,
that's the only problem. Yeah, that's potentially a problem. I mean, so the short, if you were going to be short, that played out $50. I missed that. I could have probably. Yeah,
but at the time, it felt like that thing was going to 100, bro. So I don't.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know that it's not. Still,
I think the commodities trade. I think people that have leaps, it's tough, bro.
Leaps?
I think like 100 Jan 2027's on Freeport. I don't think that happens. That's almost a double from here in 9 months.
Yeah, but they don't have hundreds. They have 90s.
I still don't see it. I think when Silver had the blow off top on January 30th, that was it. That was the move. It's done. It'll bounce around there, but
I moved my stop up on Oxy. But so this is super bullish pullback here, $50. I just missed. So that pullback from here, from those lows to the relative highs, low to high, that is the equivalent of hoodie at 70. That's what good looks like. That is what a good bounce looks like. Whoosh, immediately. So now I want to see this base, and I want to see it hold 54. And then if it does something like that, at that point, when I see this little rounding, consolidate, and then rip, I'll probably take her long if and when I see that, but that's a ways away. But I will watch this now. I don't hate it.
Reddit.
What about that? Time check. It's 3:20.
10 minutes. Yep. Like 5 more, then we're out.
Okay, so this hasn't broken down yet. So that's, yeah, I think there's a little cultiness going on. Hasn't broken down yet. It's holding the, I mean, this is about to get a squeeze. Again, when I say there's a squeeze coming, I don't know which direction it's going to happen in. Like, that's not how squeezes work. This is nearing support. I would have liked to see a little bit of a breach. The squeeze will happen upside if it's over 150, not before. Reddit can be 140 to 155 in 4 hours notice, by the way. And if it's going over 155, you're going to squeeze to 180, not before then. That can happen in 3 days time in general with Reddit. So if you want to do it, you're guessing here, but it can happen. The squeeze can also go downside, and it can go downside to ugliness. 9. I mean, well, I mean, it would at least be to 120. 120 could even be a breach here. So like that could happen before an actual move happens. So it's setting up. The squeeze is preparing to launch. Actually, this looks like squeeze downside. If I were to take a guess right now, which would just be to 120 near term. Too close to call. Too close to call. Something's gonna happen. She's wound too tight. She's wound like she's a freaking tracking coiled spring, my dude.
Shopify.
I just feel like the inflation story, PCE, PPI was kind of like this the last straw. And the storyline of like will I don't like this. They're not saying it yet, but I feel like the market's telling me that they're saying that yeah, that ad spend is gonna be a little bit more risk. So downside 109 is not really bad. Also very squeezy. Definitely downside squeezy on this one. You know what? Can't say that either. Downside targets hit over 126. The squeeze it happens up to 142. I mean, but if you lose 109, you look out below because that's when it would just reverse course on you. So again, a watch, higher low, not quite a breaker structure. It's not bad. This is not bad, but this is a very difficult one to trade. This is extremely difficult stock to trade. Support is in the 109s.
Oracle.
What are we doing here, dude?
Dude, this lost the whole earnings pump.
Yeah, and then some. Yeah, almost. I mean, I have 140. Nah. I'm cool. So like, here's that moment. You lose 198. It was like, all right, you're coming all the way down. I think I had it all the way down as potentially 115s. Dude, I have to pull up a chart here that's like 2023.
115. I'd buy at 130. But like Oracle.
Why?
Well, first of all, if you saw the earnings and then you think of the OpenAI IPO, and then you just think of, I mean, look, their RPO growth is almost freaking 500%. Like if OpenAI doesn't fail,
how much of that is OpenAI?
All of it is, but if OpenAI does, it's the best OpenAI proxy. It's better than all the other ones. And I like what OpenAI is doing. They're switching from the stupid Sora stuff to like actually focusing on enterprise. Like, I don't know.
Is 115 is the point of control from this prior consolidation? That's your full downside target. I'm not there yet, but I'm close enough to not want to be tinkering with this. All
right, that's fair. Datadog. Can we do some cybersecurity Zscaler CrowdStrike? I mean,
Yeah, I would say this one is like, honestly, of if I were to pick a company that was legit, real at risk of being replaced by AI, it's probably Datadog. Legitimately. Yeah, this don't look good.
Crowd.
Dude, it's not Crowd. Crowd is not going to be replaced. Hey, what are they doing? What kind of shenanigans are you got me in here?
Dude,
371.
Cybersecurity doesn't matter in the world of AI.
That's so funny. Jensen's like, they got it wrong, boo. They got it wrong. All right. I mean, that was resistance. You have a little bit of an order block 372. It is not ideal. This is like that prior resistance here showing up slightly as support. So if this is the low, we do have a higher high. 370, watch it, put an alert, like you add alert 370, CrowdStrike, let me know when it gets there and I'll watch how it reacts. That's going to be an interesting level right here. I don't want to see it too deep. Ooh, it's like right there. More speculative, smaller. No.
It's similar to Crowd though. Goes up and goes down.
The 300 put I should have bought and held and didn't up there. Oh well. Dude, no stakes. Steer. I don't know enough about this one. It's not as big, but it's 125.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not up to date on how these guys are doing. 125 is your pivot though. Palo Alto is probably a different story. Oh, shh. Dude, what are they doing? Palo Alto.
Dude, we don't need cybersecurity. It doesn't matter.
What are they doing?
It's dumb. Secure yourself, bro. Every man for themselves now. That's it.
Is that
Survival
real?
of the fittest. That's what's happening throughout the world.
200 week SMA. I don't think you've gotten that at all since 2020. But again, this is the same issue I have with Microsoft. Yeah, it's the 200 week SMA, which is, sorry, you can't see that. First time that you've gotten a 200 week simple moving average tag on Palo Alto since 2020 when it was $29. But the problem is that it's not the same slope anymore. Like it's not.
Yeah.
If 145 holds, I mean, I would hope that that's going to be good, but I'm using the word hope on purpose because, like, I don't know.
Last one, Cloudflare.
Well, I have this trade already charted out. It's a little white squiggle right here. 185.
Okay, so we'll
That's
do
probably
more.
one of our squiggles. But yeah, that's overhead resistance, no doubt. Can it squeeze higher? Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily believe it.
Okay, last one, Rubric. Let's do that one last.
I want to look at this. Dude, what the hell? Rubric is an addressable TAM issue right now. I think I had a good Rubric. I hear you talk about Rubric. Just as an aside, it is like if you know what a restore is when you restore your computer. He doesn't know. What do I know?
Sorry, I mean I've heard of the phrase, but I'm sure it's more technical around.
So they don't protect their data protection, but they don't prevent people from getting to your data. What they do is like they restore, like it's like if you had a live restore button that was always like available to instantly refresh. Like if someone stole your data, Rubric would like, boop, here's your data. By the way, doesn't matter, right? Or corrupted data, whoop, it's back. Flash. Didn't even notice. I want to say cool, but like it's also not cool. I don't know. It's 9 billion market cap now. I feel like that's a little low. This is a good company executing on oscillators. I just don't know if the market's gonna, give them the addressable TAM issue because it's not data security, it's data protection. It's nuanced. If it goes lower, it goes lower. And I like the company a lot. But I don't know if I like the stock, which is kind
All
of
right.
a measurement. So yeah, I would just, it's gonna be, I could bless the rubric, by the way, because it's so gross. Like, but I mean, you don't know. I don't know if the lows are in. I don't know. What's your biggest what are you excited to pick up?
Dude, I legit have to go. Like, gotta be out. If you want to talk to them for a couple minutes, you can, but I gotta go.
Okay. No, I'm good. I want to go
You're
see
good?
the boy.
Get up.
Yeah. I love you guys. You are all the best. And do I buy BA here? BA does not look bad, but just also 200-week SMA. I think you could buy BA. I don't know.
And
I like
again,
a lot of things. We'll see.
Big thank you to Jace. I mean, he has a kid on the way. He's hustling. He had a
Kids
doctor
on the way.
yesterday, and he still does this every week for us. And he will be in LA for those that are being here. So
Because I love you guys.
yeah, you get to pick his brain in person.
I'm very excited for the discounts. If we get more, it's going to be awesome. This one, actual generational did buy opportunity. But all right. I'll see you guys.
Thank you, everybody. See you guys tomorrow.
Adios. Later.
Bye, everyone.